Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you.
And be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still in a coma, but he's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail.
Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Good morning. It's the 29th of March 2022. The jury is out and the top performers are already known. KCPE class of 2021 results were announced yesterday by CS George Magoha, who says that was his last public announcement as far as KCPE examination is concerned. One gentleman, Bruce Magata, said that he expected to perform well, but he never expected to be Kenya 1. That was, according to him, Kenya 1. Congratulations to all the students. And Magoha as well said, you know what? If you had miscalculation or you had cheating in examination, then you are going to go to school that is best suited for your results. Okay. Much more coming later on, including politics, as well as youth and politics. What are we going to be talking about? I'll tell you in the course of the program. But before then, first things first, the ladies are all with me here. Doreen, good morning.
Good morning, and as well, good morning to our viewers. Just as you're talking about the KCP results, I mean, those candidates really beat the odds and the disruption of COVID-19, because by that report yesterday, it showed that also the number of those that had achieved 400 marks rose to over 3,000 candidates. So clearly, they did well. And for whatever you got as a candidate, remember that it is not the end of the world. Anyway, we are here, ready, up and early to bring you what has been happening, obviously, in Kenya and beyond. Interesting conversation we have lined up for you this morning. And also, we have quite a lot when it comes to women in leadership this Tuesday morning, as well as also how our roads will be looking like, our focus being on Juja Road and so much more. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo-Ray.
The 29th of March 2022, glad that you're making time. Indeed, you're watching Good Morning Kenya. We have so much in store for you in as far as news is concerned, including that the KTDA bonuses are out and, you know, traders are decrying fuel shortage. Is this a fuel shortage looming nationally or rather countrywide? Well, all that and so much more is in store for you this morning. I'm Regina Manyara. Now, without further ado, let us look at those stories, and we start off with the national examinations, where Magate Bruce Mackenzie of Gilgil Academy is the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education Examination top scorer with 428 marks, followed by Momanyi Ashley Kerubo of Makini School, Kebos, with 427 marks. Releasing the 2021 KCP results yesterday, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha said the integrity of the examination was maintained with no confirmed case of leakage reported. Here's the detail.
While announcing the results, Professor George Magoha said the overall performance in main grade improved compared to 2020, though the top pupil scored 428 marks compared to last year's 433 marks. 14 candidates took the top 10 slots.
The top candidate for this year's examination is Magata Bruce Mackenzie from Gilgil Hills Academy. He is at position 1 with 428 points. The second candidate is Momanyi Ashley Kerubo from Makini School, Kibos, with 427 points.
And immediately after the Education Cabinet Secretary's announcement, celebrations marked various parts of the country as candidates who emerged top received the news. Top pupil Bruce Magata Mackenzie from Gilgil Hills Academy celebrated his victory at his home in Rangau, Rongai in Kajiado County.
At first I was shocked, I didn't expect it, but later got overjoyed. I was so happy.
There was something I was doing kwa nyumba wakiendelea ku announce. So wakiendelea ku announce nilikuwa tunategea Magoa malize kueleza, and then akishafungua sasa tutume message, but we didn't get there. Yes.
So how was it?
I got confused. Mimi nilijipata hata nimeanguka chini. I was screaming. I went looking for him. He was not around at that time. So I went looking for him. I could not even explain. Mimi hata I was just crying.
It was also celebrations galore in Makini School, whose Kisumu branch produced second top performer, and Nairobi branch secured 6th slot countrywide.
How I prepared for my exams was that it was very hectic because it was a crash program, but with hard work and determination and proper time management, I was able to produce these marks.
As a school, we feel honored. So far, received 40 over 400 marks. We are expecting more.
6 candidates tied in position 3 with 426 marks. One of them was Muteti Chantel of Kitengela International School. The other third-placed pupil was Charity Bunyanze from Holy Family Misiku Girls in Bungoma.
Matokeo haya kweli mbali na kumcha Mungu na kazi yake kutimia. Juhudi na jitihada za wanafunzi kushirikiana kwa karibu sana na wazazi kumechangia pakubwa sana ufanisi wa matokeo haya.
Now, majority of the top 10 performers in the just, concluded and announced 2021 KCP examinations were from private schools. Gilgil Hills Academy, Makini School, Holy Family Misiku Girls Primary School, Emmanuel Springs and Kitengela International School were among the top 5 private schools that led the 2021 KCP examinations. Now, according to Education Sales Professor George Magoha, private schools posted a stunning performance compared to public schools in exams, which over 1.2 million candidates, took the KCP examinations.
Last year, public schools posted better performance in the 2020 KCPE examination than private schools. In contrast to this year, they scooped 10 of the 15 top positions countrywide. This means that they performed even better in the top 5, producing the first 4 with only one candidate from a private school emerging in the 5th position. However, tables were turned this year.
The top candidate for this year's examination is Magata Bruce Mackenzie from Gilgil Hills Academy. He is at position 1 with 428 points.
Traditionally, private schools have dominated while public schools have over the years been characterized by poor performance. Educators outlined that availability of learning resources and proper institutional leadership are some of the reasons that pushed private schools to perform better than their public counterparts.
I really appreciate the school management system, the head teacher Paul, together with the rest of his staff. They have really given us good support system as parents, not just me as an individual.
This year, however, despite free primary education, the Kenya National Examination Council, KNEC, indicated that privately schooled candidates reported a tie of 6 candidates in the 3rd and 4th positions.
And that makes the list of 14, but basically number 1, 2, and 3.
Now, the gender gap between boys and girls sitting the national examinations in the country has continued to narrow. Out of the estimated 1.2 million candidates who sat the 2021 examination, 49.72% were girls compared to 50.28% who were boys. This is a 2.95% increase in the number of female candidates who sat for the KCPE examination compared to the previous year.
The focus on girl-child education in the country is paying off, with the just released KCPE examination showing the gender gap closing in.
During the 2021 examination, 12 counties registered more females than males. Very strange. Mombasa, Meru, Isiolo, Tharaka Nithi, Nairobi, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Bungoma, Kakamega, Vihiga, Kisumu, and Siaya.
Male and female candidates also increased by 19,934 and 14,905 respectively. The number of candidates who sat for last year's KCPE and were in the appropriate age bracket of 13 to 14 years was 551,920, which represents 45.03% of total candidates.
The number of registered candidates who are below age increased from 26,000 to 33,000. The counties that had the highest entry for these candidates is very strange, and I'm going to read them very carefully. Baringo, Bomet, Kericho, West Pokot, and Nyamira.
This was the highest number, which has been on a steady rise for the last 5 years. The number of registered candidates who were 12 years and below increased from 26,378 in the year 2020 to 33,627 in 2021. The counties which had the highest entry of candidates who were 19 years and above were Turkana at 16.76%, Garissa at 14.44%, Kilifi at 3.41%, Kwale at 8.35%, and Mandera at 6.05%. These counties, except Mandera, recorded a similar trend in the year 2020 KCPE examination. The countries with the highest entry of candidates who were 12 years and below in the 2021 KCPE examination were Baringo at 7.09%, Bomet at 6.51%, Kericho at 6.24%, West Pokot at 5.98%, and Nyamira at 5.90%. These counties, except Nyamira, recorded a similar trend in the 2020 KCPE examination.
Now, congratulations to all the students who sat that particular examination. We know that KCSE is still underway, so best of luck to the students too. Now we cross over to matters of national importance and, security. Now, where the government has commenced registration of border operators and the issuance of rider licenses in all the 52 Huduma centers across the country. According to Nairobi County Commissioner Flora Mora, the move is aimed at streamlining the transport subsector and promoting road safety and security.
Fresh registration of border operators kicked off on Monday across the country. According to Nairobi County Commissioner Flora Moroa, the exercise, to run for 60 days from the 28th of March to 24th of June, said is part of efforts to push for reforms in the sector. Flora said the sector is critical yet poorly regulated.
Ukiona wale hawafanyi vizuri katikati ya hawa, mnawasema ili waondolewe kwa sababu nia ya kila mtu ni kujenga nchi ambayo ni nchi mzuri. Hatutaki wale watu ambao wanatumia bodaboda zao kwa uhalifu.
The Nairobi County Boda Chairman Nganga Samuel embraced the exercise, saying it will spur investment in the subsector.
Nairobi County tumechukua mikakati ya kuhakikisha members wetu tunawajua hata kwa distance, na diposa kama saizi tuko na hizi QR code ambazo tumepatia kila sub county rangi yao, ambapo kila mwana bodaboda details zake tumeweka hapo.
In Mandera, over 2,000 boda riders were asked to ensure they register. Mandera County Commissioner Onesmus Kiatha said the government is keen on reforming the subsector.
Nataka sisi wote tuelezane, hata wale hawajafika siku ya leo na wale wako manyumbani, kwamba lazima sisi wenyewe tukue register na tuingilie hii kazi, ili hii sector ikuwe very safe kwa kila mmoja na wazazi na kila mtu mwingine.
Kwa serikali atengeneze license kwa free. Zamani hatukuwa na license, sasa tumepata, sasa tunahitaji license, kupata license, insurance, kila kitu free.
While overseeing the exercise, Narok County Commissioner Isaac Masinde cautioned boda operators against unruly behavior.
Tunataka kustreamline mwana boda yoyote ambaye anafanya kazi ya boda au anaweza kujulikana katika mtandao ya serikali, au anajulikana kwa county commissioner, au anajulikana kwa deputy county commissioner, au anajulikana mpaka kwa chief.
In Muranga, the county commissioner Karukungumo asked riders to get requisite documents for registration.
Kuna changamoto kwa sababu wengine hawana stakabadhi zile zinatakikana, lakini tunaweza kuwashauri na wanaenda wanatafuta stakabadhi na wanaweza kusaidiwa.
Elsewhere, boda operators in Kakamega County have been cautioned against being used by politicians to cause mayhem during the electioneering period.
Nataka wale ambao wanaendesha bodaboda wawe na nidhamu ya juu na wasikubali kamwe kutumika na wanasiasa kwa njia mbaya.
Now, the exercise is still underway up until June 28th. Now we cross over to matters politics, where Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate, Deputy President William Ruto, has reiterated that his government will revive the country's economy if he ascends to power. He hit out at his competitors, saying they're only keen on effecting constitutional changes to fulfill their personal interests.
On the last day of his coastal tour, the Deputy President William Ruto took his campaigns to Msambweni constituency, Kwale County. The Kenya Kwanza flag bearer reiterated that what Kenyans need will be provided for by his bottoms-up model and not the BBI option fronted for by his opponents, who he claimed want constitutional reforms to fulfill their selfish interests. Sentiments echoed by those accompanying him, who rallied the locals to make the right decision.
The people of Kenya have decided that this is not a constitutional moment to change the constitution for the benefit of leaders to share positions and power, but this is an economic moment so that every citizen can have their children get a job, and every citizen can have access to opportunity to do business, and we can grow enough food. We eliminate hunger in our nation. Wametumia serikali kuchukua poti yenu, kuua biashara zetu, ili tuendelee kuwa watumwa wa familia zao. Tumewaambia watatukoma.
Tunasema BBI hiyo outcome itakayotoka kutoka kotini, sisi tuna imani haitabadilisha Mkenya, kwa sababu Mkenya ameshaamua ni Ruto.
BBI is the worst, most dangerous, most divisive and most useless project ever pursued in the history of our country.
Ruto further dismissed claims that he had plans to overthrow the government.
I supported you when your friends, the friends you have today, were against you. Please, I am asking for very little. Please don't allow State House to be used as an avenue for propaganda to spread falsehood that we were involved in anything with the man of Kitendawili to impeach you or to bring down your government. Nothing of that nature. Nothing. And you know it, my friend Mr. President. You know it, that it is not true. You know it is false. And I want to request you, out of humility, that please protect the office of the President so that it doesn't become an arena or theater for falsehood, propaganda, and planting seeds of division of the people of Kenya.
The leaders drummed up support from Vuria's deputy Fatma Achani to succeed him, as Mshenga Ruga was given UDA's direct nomination to vie for the senatorial seat.
Naomba kwa heshima mchague Mama Achani akuwe gavana wa Kwale.
Mheshimiwa Fatma Achani vipindi viwili amekuwa naibu wangu. Uzoefu anao hana, uaminifu anao hana. Mama yaweza hawezi.
On the other hand, Orange Democratic Movement Party leader Raila Odinga has pledged to prioritize agriculture should the Azimio la Umoja coalition form the next government. The Azimio flag bearer, who ended a 4-day tour of Western Kenya region, says his government will create an enabling environment for smart agriculture to thrive to boost the country's food security. Wycliffe Akech with the details.
Raila on Monday concluded his 4-day foray in Western Kenya region with a pledge to improve the state of agriculture in the country. The Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer said if elected, his government will create an enabling environment for farmers as he sought to woo the over 2 million registered voters in the Western Kenya region.
Tunasema tunataka kuboresha kilimo. Tunasema smart agriculture. Sawa. Pande ya maji tusaidia.
Raila said his administration will address the high cost of farm inputs to spur production of food.
Alafu tunajenga maviwanda ili tufanye value addition kwa ile bidhaa ambayo inatoka kwa mashamba yetu, na vijana vile vile watapata ajira kwa njia hiyo.
The ODM party leader, while promising to lower the prices of basic commodities, took a swipe at his opponents in the Kenya Kwanza that he said have nothing to offer Kenyans.
Hawa wamezidi kila mara kwa mara kutoa ahadi. Ahadi wametoa mpaka sasa wamechoka. Waliambia vijana wetu ati ndani ya siku mwezi 6 kila mtoto anakuwa na laptop. Tunakumbuka? 2013 tunakumbuka? Hiyo laptop waliona.
Western Kenya leaders who accompanied Raila took issue with ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula over the remarks attributed to them to the effect that the ODM leader had neglected the region in matters development.
Mimi mnajua hii miaka yote nimekuwa karibu na Raila Amolo Odinga. Na hii miaka yote nimekuwa na Raila Amolo Odinga. Hakuna mtu ambaye amesaidia Waluya kushinda Raila Amolo Odinga.
Nyinyi mnajua shida za watu wetu na zile zitaongezeka mtu fulani akiwa rais wa Kenya. Lazima mtusaidie sisi kuzuia huyo mtu asikaribie uongozi wa taifa.
Nafasi hii ni ya Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga.
Having welcomed the 5 members of parliament into the Orange Party, the ODM leader Raila Odinga concludes his 4 days campaign tour of the Western Kenya region, highly hopeful for a victory in the forthcoming polls. Reporting for Prime Edition from Lugari constituency in Kakamega County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Now, on the other hand, is that the Kenya Human Rights Commission wants aspirants with unresolved integrity issues barred from vying in the forthcoming general elections. Now, they have threatened to go to court to block aspirants who have integrity issues from seeking elective posts should the appointed institutions fail in their mandate. Remember, further details are available on our website. Off to the corridors of justice, Zakaria Obadia Nyaora, the main suspect arrested in connection with the assault of a female motorist along Wangari Maathai Road last month, has denied 3 charges in relation to the incident. 16 other suspects in the case were, however, set free for lack of sufficient evidence.
The 16 suspects who had been arrested in connection to the February 4th assault on the female motorist were on Monday set free. The prosecution said they didn't have enough evidence against them. The main suspect, Zakaria Obadia Nyaora, also pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of robbery with violence, sexual assault and malicious damage to property. His bail application is still pending at the court. Meanwhile, a forensic expert and cybersecurity analyst has said that Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei uttered remarks that amounted to incitement of the public. Appearing before Chief Magistrate Wendy Micheni for cross-examination, Wycliffe Mwatu said he arrived at the finding from thorough investigations at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission on the remarks made by the senator in Kiswahili and English and some spoken in Kalenjin language.
In Kalenjin language, which the transcription which was done, that will be read out, but I can read a few of the English part which were being transcribed.
The witness read to the court some of the comments made by the members of the public on social media platforms in reaction to the remarks Cherargei made in 2019 and confirmed that the accounts of respondents were legitimate and not pseudo accounts. He also produced a DVD in court containing all the utterances made by the senator as evidence. More witnesses are expected to take to the stand when the case resumes on 29th March. And finally, a city businessman has been released on a bond of 2 million shillings or a 1 million shillings cash bail after denying 2 counts of forgery and obtaining credit by false pretense.
Granted a bond of 2 million shillings with 1 surety for a cash bill of 1 million with a contact person. Court number 2, the 7th of April.
Harihara Ganapathy is alleged to have forged a letter by the project manager of Trademark East Africa to obtain an invoice discounting loan of 25 million shillings from HFC on 30th July 2020 in Nairobi. Ganapathy denied the charges before Chief Magistrate Wendy Micheni, who set April 7th as the mentioned date for the case.
Now we cross over to matters of business. Is that Kenyans will have to wait a little longer before the second batch of the 15% electricity bill reduction is effected. Now, Energy Principal Secretary Gordon Hihalangwa says the electricity bill reduction that was expected before the end of this month has been put on hold until negotiations between the government and the independent power producers are finalized.
The second phase of power reduction that was supposed to be announced this month has been postponed to allow finalization of the engagement between the independent power producers and the government. According to the government, renegotiation of the power purchasing agreement will center around reduction of capacity charge that has seen Kenya Power pay half of its purchase cost that stood at 89 billion shillings last year to capacity charge payments.
There could be certain areas which have gaps which are either not fair to the country, or some things that are more or less favoring the particular IPP than the government.
The discussions with the 77 independent power producers is also expected to consider using the shilling as the base currency as opposed to the dollar.
government has actually been preparing to begin the renegotiation of the PPAs. And I believe they'll be addressing a plethora of things.
This, as the Ministry of Energy says, they are close to licensing 3 additional IPPs that will generate additional power to the national grid at lower tariffs, with the review of 327 power generators who have expressed interest in generating power in the country ongoing.
Before you begin your project, we must first of all agree on a tariff. And I want to tell you, the tariff that we'll be going for will not be more than 5 cents. 5 cents.
Kenya has an installed capacity of 2,840 megawatts against a peak demand of 1,926 megawatts.
Well, we will wait a little bit longer. Now, an acute shortage of fuel has hit parts of the North Rift and Western Kenya in what the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority attributes to unprecedented logistical constraints. EPRA says most independent petroleum dealers ran out of stock. On a spot check, it revealed that most petrol stations did not have the commodity, with a few that had it witnessing long queues and chaos as buyers scrambled for the commodity. While assuring that there is enough stock in the country, EPRA says the government is working on restoring fuel supplies in the affected areas.
Wanabodaboda wote wamesimamisha mapikipiki kwa sababu hakuna mafuta.
In the coming days, I don't think there will be any much changes because we will still be dry and the community here will still be suffering.
We'll be keeping tabs on that, given that the high cost of fuel has been one of the key factors in as far as the economy is concerned, that Kenyans are saying is making the cost of living far more costlier for a majority of Kenyans. We cross over to the sporting arena, where Mark Rai Kimathi believes his return to the FIA African Rally Championship will work to bolster his junior WRC aspirations. Kimathi will be using this week's ARC Equator Rally to prepare for the WRC Croatia Rally, slated for April 21st to the 24th. The career accountant was one of the standout performers in the WRC Rally Sweden, where he steered his M-Sport Ford Fiesta Rally 3 to a WRC 3 podium and 4th in junior WRC. Kimathi roared back to become the first ever Kenyan finisher on the winter fixture that ventures deep into the frozen and remote forests of northeastern Sweden. The ARC Equator Rally will serve as a dry run for the WRC Safari Rally slated for June. Now that puts a cap matters in news this morning. Remember, further details are all available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. And further on, for those who are still sitting their KCSE examinations, well, good luck. Congratulations to all the candidates who also sat for their KCP examinations. Remember, whatever you scored in that particular exams does not mean the end of life. Actually, it's the beginning of a new dispensation altogether. I'm Regina Manyara. Have a pleasant viewing ahead.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Wana ni mzazi ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani ntipilia uko na barua yangu? Maya si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda. Mali unazo wewe ama yeye? Lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi tutaka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape. Utaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi nikusaidie wewe.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you, and be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still in a coma.
What?
He's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail. Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as one opinion say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Welcome back. Now, what about if we went straight into the papers and check what's on the front page of our local dailies? There's nothing quite new here. What is trending? Return of the 400s. That's what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. It's all about the KCPE examination. The number of candidates scoring 400 marks and above almost doubled in 2021 compared to 2020's Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exam, and only the class of 2018 had more candidates scoring above 400 in 6 years, as private institutions emerged from the ashes of the last two national tests to dominate the list of top performers. That's what's on the front page, basically taking a bigger chunk of the front pages of this local daily. Here we have got top performers also put there for you. We have got on second page also, still on the papers, improved KCP performers as top candidate scores 428. Now, in terms of figures, the number of pupils who scored 400 marks and above stand at 11,857. The figures continue down there. Top student Eyes Alliance dreams of becoming engineer in robotics. Good one. All right, it continues there. As I said, it's actually consuming better part of the first pages of this local daily, the Daily Nation. Candidates who emerged top nationally in 2021 test also listed down there for you. Chance to gain glory in Ukambani. My director says that, yes, I don't know, but Ben Kamoti, I have not seen your primary school here from Ukambani. All right, sawa. 320 pupils, officials caught cheating to know fate soon. That's according to the Education CS George Magoha. But he said that, well, all the students will get Form 1 placement despite all the anomalies that occurred there. Better results for 6 subjects in 2021 exam as well. There was a drop in mathematics, English, language, and religious education, according to Magoha. And he said that whoever will come in the next government must continue with the KBC. So the story continues there. And into politics briefly, which way for the BBI? Kenyans eagerly await Apex Court judgment. The circular is out and that jury will be delivered on Thursday. Now, the 7 points that the High Court will, the Supreme Court rather, will be looking at. One is the top court is expected to settle in whether a president can be sued in his personal capacity for anything done or not done while in office. Number 2, very quickly, the second question is whether the basic structure doctrine applies in the Kenyan Constitution. All right. The third one is the legality of President Uhuru Kenyatta's involvement in the proposed amendment. The fourth one is the issue of the judges who will rule on is on the constitutional right of the president as a citizen, including his right to equal treatment under the law. That's according to Article 27, freedom of expression, and Article 33, and freedom to make political choices, according to Article 38. The fifth issue that the judges will be looking at is the location of the 70 new constituencies proposed by the Building Bridges Initiative. That is the BBI in the fifth question rather. And the sixth question is relates to public participation in the amendment bill and the quorum of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission at that particular time. And lastly, the last question is whether a referendum ballot paper involving multiple amendments should be containing multiple questions on a single question. Those are some of the issues, the 7 points that the judges will be looking at come Thursday. All right. On the front page of the Star, KCP 2020, there's nothing new here, but let me give it to Doreen first of all before I come to what's on the front page of the Star. Doreen.
Well, it's all about matters KCP with the results released yesterday by the Education Cabinet Secretary. But let me just pick a bit on what he said, and this is as he issued his own scorecard on his way out, obviously saying that as he's leaving office, he's doing that with his head held high from CBC success to clean national exams. That is what he said. Yes, remember that his regime has been largely on the implementation of the competency-based curriculum, what we call the skill-based kind of education system. And also, as we had mentioned earlier, candidates defy COVID to post improved outcomes as the number of those with 400 marks rose to over 3,000 candidates compared to the previous exams. And again, girls outperform boys when it came to languages, and obviously boys outperformed girls when it came to mathematics, sciences, as well as social studies. But also one of the concerns that perhaps came out is the issue of special needs candidates, whereby, as the ministry said, that they have really tried to do their best through concerted efforts when it comes to at least improving the grades of these candidates. But even at that, their grades still are dropping. So that is part of what came out there. And lastly, also, there are now plans, actually the plans are underway to open the new bus terminus, whereby these plans are at an advanced stage. I'm talking about the Green Park bus terminus, whereby 3 test drives were done on that particular terminus, supposed to accommodate vehicles coming from areas around Rungai, Langata, as well as some sections of Kenyatta. And remember, even as this is at its advanced stage, there's still plans to put up or construct new bus terminus. One is supposed to be at Wakulima Market, catering for vehicles coming from areas around Jogoo Road, as well as Fig Tree. But the whole question that always is on Kenyans' mind is that, are they ready to walk through this very long distances just to decongest the city? Ray. Coverage of the Sun this morning is, somewhat similar with what we have with the other babies, talking about the aftermath of the KCP results, the top students and the schools having a splash there on the front page. We have Mackenzie there, looks like Mackenzie Kwasha. So, apologies for that. It seems, I was whispering in mute, yeah? Now we're talking about what we have on the various dailies, and this particular daily here is talking about the KCP results that were announced yesterday with the winners, various winners. They're taking center stage. Well, I can say it's a shift from what we have been seeing over the last few months there, where matters of, politics have taken center stage. But for once, we're talking about, joy and surprise as private schools bounce back. We have girls here, boys here who are optimistic about the future, having done the KCP examinations. We have Bruce Mackenzie here, who is seen celebrating with relatives at their home in Rangau, Ongata, Rongai there. He is Kenya 1. And when he was asked about, what he thought about his performance, he said, well, I knew I would do well. However, I never banked on being Kenya 1. Congratulations to each and every student who sat their KCP examination. Remember, as a parent and a guardian, your role is to support the students also psychologically. Some of them may not have attained what they had been used to, all those exam jitters and many other, challenges during this particular examination period. However, that is not a determinant as to what their life and who they will or what they will achieve in their future. Also interesting enough, and I'm sure this is a story that we're going to delve into and ask for your feedback, especially on Thursday when we talk about matters entertainment. There is the Oscars. Now, this is a story that has found itself on the front page of this particular daily under the World segment, where Will Smith smacks Chris Rock, then wins the Oscars. I know so much has been said. Others have come out in defense of Will Smith there. Well, others have said, whatever form of violence should not be allowed at the Oscars. Information coming through on social media platforms and international media is that even the Oscars now, organizers were highly considering leaving out Will Smith from the Oscars following that particular incident. However, Chris Rock has been silent, even as the world has been trying, rather than having conversations around what took place on stage. So those are just some of the stories that have taken center stage of the front page in this particular daily. We continue wishing all the students who are sitting both their KCSE examinations that is still underway, and those that completed the KCP and have their results, all the best of luck. Now, before we cross over to matters politics, allow me now to look at matters business. Remember that next week we're going to have Treasury presenting its 3.3 proposed budget for the financial year 2022-2023. Questions have been abounded. How will we be able to actually finance this? Looking at the issue of debt, a debt to GDP ratio, and the repayment timelines. And also, how does Treasury plan to actually fund this? Now, talking about also business, the KTDA bonuses are out. So, on human interest, and I'd want to engage Victor on this, whenever we have the KTDA bonuses, it is said that some people disappear until the bonuses money is spent. What is your take in regard to that matter?
All right, so let's take a look also on what's on the front page of the Star newspaper here. KCPE 2021 private schools bounce back. Only 3 of the top 14 students came from public institutions as academies dominate. That's what's here on the front page. There's a story of a boy from Mombasa who had a fighting spirit but managed to push it to the top. Straight on to some politics. Raila, route battle for Western, 2.2 million votes. They have been camping there. Raila has been there since last Friday. ODM, that's ODM boss, and ANC Musalia Mudavadi as well as Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya are also in the western side of Kenya battling for the heart of 2.2 million votes there. Now, there's that sad story of one gentleman who slipped into a boiler at a steel plant in Thika. Now, the family said that the only thing they found was ash and tooth-like pieces, because the liquid there is super hot. That's meant to melt the steel. So you can imagine the interns. The family are still grappling with that loss. Okay, very quickly, private schools bounce back in 2021 KCPE examination. That's also listed there for you. Public primary schools have been doing well, but this time around there is that shocker again. Fighting spirit pushed Mombasa student to list of top performers. We have got Joshua Safari, was in and out of hospital most of the time but still excelled in KCPE examination. That is spirit of a fighter. Leading KCPE boy was Bukwam. That's according to Gilgil Hills director. Beth Kanyi says that Bruce Magata was always studying and they always forced him to go out and play. I don't know whether some of us, yeah, okay. Regina, how are you? What about Doreen? Were you being forced to go and study? Because this boy was being forced to go and play.
Well, Doreen, why you?
During your time?
So I think mine was opposite. He was being forced to go and play. I was being forced to go and study. But we are here. That's why we keep saying all the time, just take the results that you got.
That's the reverse of life.
And that is life.
Yeah, that is life.
That is life.
Kuzwa.
Waenda usome. Yana mboenda ucheze.
Yeah, okay. On that note, let's take some break. Too much work. Let's play, all right? We'll be right back with more.
You decided to be Shannon because one day you'll take your revenge?
Pinky? You're really Pinky? Learn about skincare. You learn everything from makeup removal to facial massage. You'll have no time for lunch.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you. And be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still in a coma. What? He's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail. Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Welcome back. Now it's time for us to go into the political segment, that is People and Politics. But later on, we will cross to Radio Taifa, and we'll be, Kina Rashid there, we'll be having a discussion relating to the examination, and they'll have experts there. We'll see how it will pan out. In studio, I have Nelly Chepkemoi Langat, as well as Danson Mukile, who is in the diaspora from Washington, D.C. in the USA. Danston, habari ya asubuhi.
I'm Zuri sana bwana Olo. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. First of all, what are you missing in the States? Wacha tundianze tu hapo.
I will say the democracy, you know, the system that is well organized, and also how things that we work for, you know, the things you work out for it all pays you back. So there's a lot that is done in here, and especially in the States, that I wish, you know, we could also do the same back home. So there's a lot to learn, actually. Yes.
And of course, we have the KCP examination results are out. What do you make of that? Were you one of the students who are being forced to go and read? When you saw me?
You know, I must say I'm one of the students that my parents or my family members, they were never worried how I'm doing. And actually, I can tell you on the national television that none of my family actually asked for my report card or how did you perform in school, because they were sure that I've done my best. And I want to extend my congratulations to the entire 2021 KCP candidates. I know we have those ones who did well and those ones who didn't do well, but I'll just tell them that it's on the end. It doesn't matter how many points or marks you got, as long as you focus and go to high school. I've seen people who scored even 200 marks, and when they went to high school, they got good grades. So it should not be a frustration. I know some young people there, they'll be crying, you know, I did this in mock, I got more marks, but now I've dropped. So don't worry, there's always opportunities ahead. So I just want to congratulate them and also the teachers across the nation.
Yes, absolutely. And when you look at the top performers, girls have once again outsmarted the boys.
Yes, I can say they say the girl child, but I can say we are all equal. All boy and girl is equal. And being a biologist or being into science, I'll tell you that the brain always comes from the side of the mother, and we are equal. We come from the same parent, so it's the effort. We know we cannot say the one is the best or the other one is not the best. They are equal before us, and we have to give one another the opportunity. The boy can shine this year, the next year girl can shine. So it's just equal. But we should not be discriminate our children and say, okay, the girl child, you know, should be given more opportunity than the boys. Let them just compete equally, equal opportunities, and whoever wins, we must always get a winner, you know. So we can't always be number one, all of us. But after all, there has been a lot of improvement when it comes to the girl education.
Quite interesting. Perhaps still on matters education, what are some of the visible comparisons that you can actually give in terms of our Kenyan system and the American system?
So when you compare the two systems, I will say the CBC that is being introduced right now, it more captures the American way of how students learn, because they go through a grading system and they do continuous assessments, you know. They don't have where we have a national exam whereby students will not be evaluated. They usually go for those continuous assessments. And even when you apply for a high school or a college, they will always request you to provide those the assessments you used to do, so that they can gauge you and know that what you've been doing for all these years is equivalent to what you're going to study. So the nurturing also, when you compare the system in a country whereby you just do all subjects, you don't know. I've seen even our children saying, I want to be a neurosurgeon, I want to be, but in reality, when you look at how they've been doing in school, when you look at even science itself, you'll find this student is more interested in physical science more than biological science. He does experiments that are more biological or more than physical. So if we can have the system that you're developing, we evaluate the children at a younger age, we can easily tell. You can easily be comfortable that I'm going to be a pilot because your parent can actually demonstrate in the house and say what you are doing is equivalent to what you're aspiring. But the way it is right now, it has been done in a way that is a blindfold. You just have to go through the system until you reach a time, then your dream comes, But if we start our children to work on their dreams when they are still young, because even teachers, you'll find young kids practicing to be a teacher, because I can tell you for sure, majority of us, we always used to do what our parents are doing. If my mother is a teacher, we always be aspiring, I want to be a teacher like my mom. If my dad is a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, But now if we develop a curriculum that in a way that we can assess our children in a continuous process, you are able to monitor. If you have any issues, you can easily tell, you can easily invite even an expert in a particular area and teach your child. So that is how the American system is a bit different. Ours, we go through the system until we reach a time whereby we cannot be evaluated, but for them, they evaluate. That's why you find them when they go to high school, they go to business high school, they go to science high school, they go to, you are able to know where you are going. Some of them will go to a particular high school, things are not going on well, they go to another high school so that until they find their way out. So that is how I can say it is the difference between the two.
Great. So basically, CBC is the way to go. And if you heard what CS Mago has said, that CBC is here to stay and is the best thing that's happening to this particular country. Nelly, let me also bring you in. You've heard what Dunston has said. Briefly, the girl child has done tremendously well. And CBC is, we are replicating what's happening in the States. Good morning.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me today.
Absolutely.
So what I would add on that is that I'm so happy for the girl child. It means they're breaking the barriers to outshine the other gender.
Yes.
And we are so happy as a lady, as a woman. But that doesn't mean that we are discriminating the boy child. We're just happy that the girl child is also coming up and defying the odds when it comes to education, so that they may also be seen as capable, they may also be seen as successful. So on matters CBC, I would say it is a good thing. I'm so happy it was brought. Most of us have undergone through the system that was
the 844.
The 844.
Right.
So when it comes to CBC, then it means a child is able to be nurtured. He or she is able to identify what is safe for him or her, what is really good or what will work for them. So you start nurturing that at a tender age, so that when they grow up, they are able to focus on that one thing that they are going to do with so much passion, and they eventually become successful.
When you talk about CBC and leadership, we are in a particular point in life where most of the students who are getting the CBC rolling right now are getting it at a time we're going for an election. What's the correlation that you can bring between the education system and leadership that you have? You're a youth leader.
Yes.
Yes.
So as a youth leader, I believe with the relation now that we are almost getting to the general election, and then it is bringing that practical aspect of where you can get to indulge on a practical approach. You get. So I'm looking at it as having a practical approach with regards to it. Yes.
Do you think the youths are getting their voices heard in the democratic space?
For a long time, we've not had spaces where youth are able to address their concerns. But I'm so happy in the current happenings in the country. We as the youth, speaking as a youth leader, we are coming up boldly to show our capabilities, to voice our concerns, be the voices of reason out here, so that we may able to get we are able to get seats, ears and eyes at the table, to be able to represent our people, to be able to voice out our concerns, and be able to address the youth agenda when it comes to matters decision making.
Right.
Yes.
Dunston, from where you are, the same question goes to you. Do you think that the youth of this particular country is getting their voices heard?
I think for me, I won't give a yes or no answer for that question, because our system has been designed now in a way that our youth have to follow a certain pattern. You know, there is no direct system whereby our youth or young people, especially want to go into leadership, they can just go direct into leadership. There has been a design that the youth must go through a certain channel, for example, a certain prominent political leader, whom they are going to be actually, I'll call it being loyalist to the person, being loyal to the person. And out of it, this youth leader or whoever will have to follow a certain channel that it will take time, because this is a young man, a young woman who has brilliant ideas to share, but will he or she be given equal opportunity with someone who has been in the political or in the leadership for the last 20 years or 10 years? It is so hard, you know. So that is the main challenge, that it's not a direct move for the youth, and they are finding it so hard because the way the system has been designed is actually to deny them the direct entry, to tell them, hey, you have a long time, you know, you can stay, you can wait. And there's no way you can wait, because once the dream is ready, it has to be put into action. So I feel how it has been designed.
But then how do you change that narrative altogether?
Now, the only way we can change this, number one, is at the ballot. Yeah, the ballot is actually one of the best weapons to change the pattern. Because I'll take it, for example, in Kenya right now, we have, I'll call them political oligarchs, you know. They have been there, they have been existing, and they have created a certain system in a way that it makes it so hard for young people to enter. You realize they'll be given kazi ya mkono most of the time. Even if you come fresh from the university, if you approach, say, can you nurture me to go into political realm and, you know, being also share my ideas that I have, they will tell you, relax, your time will come, follow this is how we do it. And they will literally tell you that this is how you do it, learn from me, you know. So it denies you, because I have a way I want to do it, but for you, I want to give you your script, and it makes it so hard for me to even implement the ideas I have at that moment until later on, after a couple of years. So it is the only way we can do away with that is when we vote. We have a good vote.
Absolutely, Nelly. You know, you are an aspiring candidate in Kilgoris. Is this the best way to go, the ballot, to change the narrative?
Yes, thank you. I would also like to say that the ballot is the best way to go, because the power is with the people. If we are indeed going to say that we want to see the capabilities of having a youthful leadership, then we need to change that at the ballot. Let us have, or let us rather rally youths, women, even the men, to come out, support a youth candidate, try and look at it as this is a candidate, this is a leader. He or she is not just a youth, but is a capable leader who is bringing something to the table, who has an agenda for the people. And once you get to share your agenda or what you plan to do for the people, then I believe it is so easy to be supported.
You know, politics is competitive. What's stopping the youth from getting into, let me say, dive into the waters?
We have quite some challenges that hinder us, the youth. Firstly, I would say is finances. When it comes to Kenyan politics, we know that finance speaks quite somehow speaks when it comes to politics in Kenya.
For the logistics.
So I would say with the youth, we find it hard because of financial reasons. Again, when it comes to having to get that opportunity, we may be many, but you'll still find, for example, I'm competing with men, I'm competing with 2 other ladies. So as a youth, you really have to put in extra work and fight for that space. You need to really come out and convince people for you to get that opportunity to be on the front line of actually wanting to lead. But I always say that once you have a vision, once you're able to articulate your agenda and you want to be of service to these people. So there's no way, whether you're a youth, a man or a woman, but because you're talking of youth, then I believe people should start changing their mindsets, their thinking. They should be able to see that even us, the youth, we are able to offer alternative leadership. Yes. Okay.
You know, you are actually running on ODM ticket.
Yes.
And Dunston, you are youth diaspora leader in the United States under UDA. What is the common denominator when I look at the two of you? What's the common denominator? Starting with you, Dunston.
I think we want to achieve the same thing, but as much as we are across the political divide, we want to achieve actually the same thing. But just to maybe to counter what my sister said about the main challenge youth faces, actually the resources, I wouldn't say it's the money. It's what we call political illusion that is killing the youth, because there has been a perception that has been put ahead among the youth that you must have this and this before you lead. Actually, it is not. The ideas you have and the procedure that you have put ahead, it is the best that the people will want. Just don't follow how the wind is going. Don't say, oh, my competitor is being supported by a certain billionaire or so and so as a young person. We are coming fresh from the university, or we're just starting up our life. Yes, we have maybe a small family. We may not have millions of the money that she's maybe talking about. What we need to remove is the political illusion that we believe that we must have this and that before we lead. Let the youth just go share the ideas they have with the people and tell them, this is what I want to do to our community. This is what I want to do to our constituency. If they are good ideas, I can tell you, Mr. Olo, they will elect you. I can give an example of the young man who was elected in, is it Meru, right?
Yes.
He's a living example. He was campaigning using maybe on foot and even a bicycle. But they believed in the ideas that he had. That is what we need to have. But because we are always surrounded to the political oligarchs, you know, they are giving you a ride in a Prado or a Mercedes Benz, or things you don't have that time. So to you believe that is what I need to lead. No. The ideas you have that you want to impact to your community, it is the best that we need to use. That is the weapon that you are going to have youthful leadership in Kenya, because we represent change, and there's no way we are going to represent change if we are not in that political system ourselves. So maybe you had a follow-up question. Maybe I'll just say that when you put all those things together, if the youth can rally because we are the majority, and we remove this myth and the perception or the negative connotation that has been put ahead of us that you need to have this and this before you become someone in society, we are going to liberate this country in a very nice way.
Okay. Nelly, what stands out? ODM.
I would say our ideologies as a party and what our party leader stands for. It stands for having unity first in the country. It is so important to have a peaceful country.
Yes.
And as we also gear up to the elections, he stands for having peaceful elections. So as a party, we are looking into having, first of all, leading the government.
Yes.
We are so much eager to lead the government. And as a party, we are also looking at improving and empowering the lives of Kenyans. So as being a candidate in the ODM, I will also say that my manifesto aligns with what our party leader, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, stands for. So he would really like to bring the country together, be peaceful, and be able to empower and improve the lives of people in Kenya, yes.
You know, you are an activist and you are much more involved in the grassroots sensitization about the girl child, getting into the political arena and fight it together with their fellow men. Because at the end of the day,
better than the other, yes.
Danson, Deputy President was in the United States a couple of weeks ago. What do you make of the outcome after that particular meeting? Do you feel that your voices are still heard, you know, thousands of kilometers away from 254?
Thank you. Yeah, it's true. The Deputy President was here and I was happy to host him. And I can say we are so happy because when Mr. Low, every year, like last year, the people in diaspora send a lot of money into the economy. Last year, we sent up to 4 billion US dollars, which is just equivalent to almost 400 billion Kenyan shillings. And for a long time, we have never had any voice. You know, both the young and even the old in the diaspora. We have always been sidelined by the government, and this, you know, the only thing we receive is maybe the embassy services, which is so limited even. So when the Deputy President came here, we had a chance and had a chat with him, both in the private and also in public forum. And I know you guys also had a chance to air it. And we told him, when a Deputy President, as the diaspora, we want you to do this for us. We want you to recognize us in your government that you're going to form. We want you to develop policies that are friendly to the people in diaspora. We want to invest back home, but there's a lot of interest that has been put ahead, you know, through maybe taxing. Then when he told us, you guys sit down, develop your own agenda. I've been going around the whole country in different counties, talking to them, selling them the bottom-up economy. They are giving me their ideas. They want each county what they want it to be done. I'm going to sign and develop my personal commitment to them. So you also do the same. And when he gave us that go ahead, as people in the diaspora, especially those who are supporting him in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, we are working on it even right now so that we will, for the first time, the people who they live in diaspora, I'm talking about even our sisters and brothers who are in the Middle East, some of them who are even being killed, you know, under the employers. For the first time, they will have a voice, direct voice from the diaspora united to the government. So I believe his visit was also happening for us.
That has been, we have got embassies and consulates still handling matters. You cannot say that's not been happening, Danson?
No, actually, but Mr. Law, I can tell you, there have been a lot of issues. For example, I can use a case of the Middle East. The Foreign Affairs developed a policy on how they are going to help the people in the Middle East, but the policy had to go through the Minister of Labor. When it got into the Minister of Labor, there was a lot of hindrances, even from the COTU, the labor relation, because some of the things they touch the international labor relation laws. So everything got stuck. That is why up to now, our sisters are still having the same problems. We receive videos, we receive phone calls. They are suffering, but the government is doing nothing to help them. They will just say a few things. Some of them will travel, but we need them to do more, and we need more laws. The
same question I asked Nelly here. Why UDA? You're a youth leader.
So why UDA? You always, in every system, you look for the friendly environment. So the UDA has given the diaspora the friendly environment to articulate their issues. And we have started the leader, our UDA leader, and he has listened to us. And we are happy that once we are ready, he's going to sign the charter, and he has promised us to implement. On the other side, so far, the former Prime Minister, he traveled to UK, and I can tell I was following the whole conversation he was having with people in the UK. I know he's planning to come to the US, but we haven't seen telling that you people in diaspora, in my government, this is what I'm going to do for you. He's giving us the old norm. So that is why we feel the UDA is giving us more attention. And that's why we realize that many people in diaspora are going to support the deputy president.
Okay, Nelly, ODM boss giving the old norm, according to him, there's nothing new to offer.
No, there is more to offer. Because when you look at the Prime Minister, Raila is a very experienced politician, he's a strategic thinker, he's been in the field since way back, even before I was born. So I would say he isn't bringing the old norm, he's bringing an experience of a leader. And that is why we want to try him, we want to give him a try at the presidency so that he's able to take our country ahead.
Yes. As a youth, what are you taking to the negotiation table?
As a youth, I am able to go and issue out the youth concerns. I am able to represent the youths, having a voice or being a voice of reason on behalf of the youth out there, so that our issues are also able to be negotiated. As I said before, we should pay attention to policies and politics and also decision making, because I had not finished. I say that if we don't pay attention to this, then our livelihoods will be legislated out of existence. So once we have some of us who are coming up boldly to be on the decision table, to be heard, not to be on the menu, to be actually there, to have our issues articulated, then it is safe to say that he has the youth agenda at heart. Yes.
Danson, when you look at youths here in the country, what they are actually looking for, one of them is job opportunity. When you look at Kenya and the US, what do you really think should be the direct comparison of where you are in terms of job opportunities? Most people in the States work 2-3 jobs differently. In Kenya, the government is, according to the UDA, the bottom-up economy. What do you make on that?
Thank you. So maybe just to remind my sister is that when I said the old norm, I was referring to for the diaspora policy, what Honorable Raila was saying. But when it comes to your question, if you compare the two governments, like what she's trying to say, it's what you call the central-centered government system, whereby go into government, give me an opportunity, I'll come and talk to you so that you can give me a chance. But for us, we are saying that wherever you are, it doesn't matter at what level, you can be able to do it at that level. If you're a young person, yes, you may have opportunity to lead. Yes, you may have you can be a minister in the youth ministry, but that one is going to cover how many people? You know, the youth makes the 50% of the population. We are talking about millions of those people. So for us to make sure that this one is covered is now to come through the bottom-up economy. And this, Mr. Mbanolo, it has worked in China. When you look at the Chinese economy, how it started, there are some people who start somewhere in the lower level, in the rural, and they said, why can't we do it from the bottom? Why can't we support ourselves so that we get out of this central governance whereby the government has to control everything. The government has to give us jobs. The government has to give us services. We can do it on our own. And that's why even you compare in the US, some of the agencies we work for, they are not government agencies. They are private. But the government has made sure that they get some subsidies through even taxes or direct funding to make sure that the services are running. And that is the bottom up. So that wherever you are, the small business you are doing, even border, or you are selling even sweets, how can the government make sure that you are comfortable so that whatever you are getting, it's actually going to support your child to go to school? How can you do that? So that the best way you can do is to reduce the taxes that are existing now in the system, provide subsidies, you understand? So that the government can now support you in a level that you're going to be comfortable, to be more sustainable. But what the opponents are suggesting is that we are comfortable trickle down. You guys, what I'm going to do as the youth, I'll give you a ministry, or you'll be coming, I'll give you a position. That is not enough. I'm not representing just Danson alone. There are so many. But Mr. Ola, I can send you a message. So many messages, people looking for opportunities. One person cannot do that. Let us have an enabling environment for our young at the bottom. Those who have ideas. We have people like, for example, the KCP candidate who said, I want to be a robotic engineer. How can you do that? Even if we don't have maybe a lab for robotic engineering in Kenya. You know, he has to find ways to go to other countries to do it. So we need to provide a system whereby the government doesn't control everything, all the services. If you want help, you have to depend on the government. So it's going to, you have to make it comfortable. If you start your own hospital a little bit, the county government say, I'm coming for tax for water, I'm coming for tax for electricity.
I'll come back to you, Danso. But then what you've said, I still want to, ask the same question to Nelly here. When you look at the agenda, both leaders, the deputy president talking about the bottom of economy, what Danson is also reiterating there, and the social structures of ODM leader Odinga, and etc., etc. As a youth leader, as a female contestant, what point do you strike the balance so that you also appear equal in the political arena?
My point would be that first, let me correct my friend Danson. I didn't really mean it's all about the cabinets, but you see, I'm contesting to be a member of the county assembly in Narok. So I am not really going for that cabinet slot. All I was saying is that you should be able as youth to have someone who will represent our issues. If I am a youth leader and I'm involved in this decision-making table, for example, I'm an aspirant. If I get to the county assembly of Narok County, then I will be able, apart from representing the people of Narok, then I'll be able to also address youth issues in the county assembly. And this is also relates to the people in the national government. When you have a representative of the youth, then it means he or she will be able to come back to you, get your concerns. He, as a representative, or you will be able to go out and voice your concerns at the decision-making table. That is how it works. Yes, so please pardon your question. I was answering him first.
So the question is, how do you strike the balance between you and other contestants nationally, so to speak? Because when it comes to legislation, most people would say that leaders get elected, but once they get into office, their voices evaporate. We never hear from them.
Okay. So I would say it is not really actually also about pushing the youth agenda or the women agenda. You want to be seen as a leader out there. You want to be able to serve from a point of influence. You want to bring a change. You want to be able to offer alternative leadership when it comes to you. It doesn't matter if you're a woman, it doesn't matter if you're a youth, it doesn't matter which political affiliation you're in, but it all comes down to what are you offering to the people. If you are elected, then it means these people are hiring you. They are giving you a job to represent them. So it is upon you to be accountable to them. You need to come back and show them that this was my manifesto. I promised to do this. So this is what I've done. This is what I'm to do in the next 5 years or in the next 2 or 3 years. So I would say as a leader, the balance will be in what are you really going to do for the people.
Yes.
And generally, I will put it as these people are hiring you, so you need to be of service to them, and that is why I'm saying you need to be seen as a leader who is serving the people from a point of influence.
All right.
Yes.
Because we are running out of time, we are almost crossing to the Kiswahili radio, the other side, Idhaa ya Taifa, so that we can have that conversation. Danson, I'm going to give you only 15 seconds, if you can, to give me your parting shot. Then I can allow you to go and sleep. Yes, it's past midnight in the States, right?
Yes, it's actually 1 a.m.
Time. Shot.
Okay, thank you so much. What I can tell our youth leaders, those who are aspiring, like my sister, let us avoid monopolistic tactics that maybe our leaders at the higher level have been employing, have been using, especially when it comes to political tolerance, maybe when they lose, or you have to create your own. So I just want to be tolerant and remain peaceful, and let us do clean politics, siasa safi, as Senator Sakaja always say, and I'm sure we are going to do our best, and let's continue supporting our candidates. And at the end of it all, the goal is one, to win.
All right, okay. That's a parting shot. Thank you so much, Danson. And you, Nelly, your parting shot, 15 seconds.
Parting shot is that let us have peaceful elections so as we gear up to, and also the party primaries, let us have them being fair and peaceful. And the last thing I would say is I would ask the people of Kilgoris Central Ward from Narok County to come out and support me as a candidate and be able to support me to get to the county assembly so that I'm able to represent them and be able to offer alternative leadership and bring about change in our ward. Thank you.
Wow. Good one. Thank you. We're speaking to Danson Mukile, who is a diaspora youth leader in the United States, coming from Washington, D.C. under UDA. There you have him, as well as Nelly Chepkemoi-Langat, who is also a youth leader and aspiring member of county assembly in Kilgoris, Narok County. Lady and gentlemen, thank you so much. Danson, now you can go to bed. All right. For us now, we are taking a break, but we are not done. We are taking a break, but when we come back, we are heading to the Kiswahili section, that is Idhaa ya Taifa, where our sister station will be discussing matters education with Gibson Gisore, who is educationist and lecturer, Kenyatta University, as well as Kinjabi Kibingo Eric, who is educationist and teacher, Makini School. They are going to be discussing matters KCPE and education in general. Let's take a break. When we come back, straight to the Kiswahili radio station.
Management, staff and students of Mary Shaw School wish to convey our congratulatory message to the KCPE candidates on their well-deserved success. Well done and congratulations on passing the 2021 KCPE exams. dedication and hard work have led you to victory. Mary Show School, home of the boy child.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you.
And be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still under the coma. What? He's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail.
Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición. Ngimate gaska watu tegu, ngimate yatmugulel dangu, ngimate mange, nyange begi putinai. Lale, kimi giba genge, Kitut FM gigosi, Kitut FM gigosi, FM gigosi. 98.0 Kitut FM gigosin.
Unaona ni mzazi ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani ntipilia uko na barua yangu? Maya si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda. Mali unazo wewe ama yeye? Lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi tunataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape. Utaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi nikusaidie wewe.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as one of people say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
In recent past, there have been reported cases of highly adulterated honey that could have serious health implications as well as economic consequences. Well, this week on The Process, we take a look at how honey is processed. A fresh batch of harvested honey is received from farmers and various suppliers.
We do some tests for if there is any adulteration in the honey.
Here, the honey is taken through a number of quality assurance tests that check, among other things, the presence of commercial sugars, moisture content, color.
So when it turns red like this, your honey is not good for human consumption, and we reject that. But if it retains its color like this is good. And also, we have our refractometer. We do check the moisture content. And the required moisture content is between 13 and 22%.
Depending on where and how the honey was harvested, it contains varied properties.
The reason why we have different colors of honey depends with the vegetation where the bees forage the nectar and pollen. Also, what can determine the color is mode of harvesting. If you harvest poorly, poor processing methods can affect the taste of the honey and the color. If you over smoke, maybe your honey could have been light, it will be darker. But the main reason for color in the honey is where the bees forage the pollen and the nectar and the region. We can have black, we can have white, depends on the vegetation and the season of harvest.
Once the testing is done, the honey is then weighed in preparation for the warming process.
When you finish your processing in the warmer, it cuts some certain kgs because of the dirty present in the honey. So the reason is that you should know, when doing your records, you should know how many kgs you have lost from the warmer, and during packaging, you have to lose also.
The honey is then transferred into a warmer where it is heated up for 4 hours at certain temperatures between 40 to 45 degrees centigrade.
The purpose for warming the honey is to lengthen the crystallization process. And crystallization it occurs when the glucose content is higher than the fructose.
After warming, the honey undergoes the filtration or sieving process.
After the 4 hours, we filter or we sieve to separate the molten wax, impurities, the dead bees present in the honey. Then we get the pure honey, which is clean for human consumption. Then we allow it to settle.
It then undergoes the cooling process where it is allowed to settle for a period of 48 to 72 hours.
During cooling period, the top cream settles at the top, while some dust settles at the bottom. So we allow it to settle before packaging and remove the top cream before packaging.
After cooling, the honey is now ready for packaging. After packaging, labeling, sealing takes place, rendering the product ready for distribution. There you have it, refined honey. Jackie Wambiru, The Process.
Barley, yeast, hops, and water, the raw material in beer making.
The malted barley comes from the silo, comes through this conveyor to the stoner. These others remove the dust, basically cleaning the malted barley.
Most of the beer manufacturing process is a closed process with no contact for zero chance of contamination.
This whole process is controlled from this central point.
The first step in the beer making process is mashing. Mashing is the combining of grist and water.
What happens here is conversion of starch to simple fermentable sugars like maltose.
The mixture is heated for 2 hours, causing the natural enzymes in the malt to break down starches, converting them into sugars, which will eventually become alcohol.
It is boiled for like an hour, and after boiling for the bitterness, because that will give you the bitterness in the final product. Another one is sterilizing.
The next step is loitering. This is where the liquid extract is separated from solids, also called the spent grains, separating the wort from spent grain. The lotaton separates the wort from the mash solids. The solids from the mash settle on the bottom and form a filter for the wort.
The particles emanating from boiling is separated here.
The third stage in brewing is spudging, where the remaining spent grain, which consists of grain husks and particles, are rinsed out with heated water to get as much of the sugars as possible from the remaining grain for the wort. One batch of the liquid extract in this case is 30,000 liters. The wort is then sterilized through a boiling process which halts enzyme activity and condenses the liquid. During the boiling, hops are added.
The bitter substance, which is called the alpha acids, so it is extracted by boiling.
The qualities of aroma, taste, and bitterness that hops impart to beer depend on at what point they are added. Hops can be added early in the boiling for bittering, with more time boiled resulting in more bitterness. They can be added mid-boil for flavor or late boil for flavoring and aroma. Hops can also be added at stages after the boil.
It's added, but the dosing point is below this tank.
Next, a heat exchanger is used to reduce the wort to the temperature desired for fermentation.
At this point now, you are now ready to cool the liquid and take it to start fermenting.
Wort is transferred to a fermentation tank and the yeast is added. This stage is the primary fermentation, the conversion of sugars to alcohol and carbon dioxide that lead to an ale or a lager, depending on the type of yeast used.
You filter the beer and make it that sparkling clear.
Once yeast has been pitched at proper temperature, the beer is generally maintained. The process of the yeast converting sugars to alcohol generates heat and is monitored closely by brewers. During the conditioning process, the beer will mature and be smooth, and byproducts of the fermentation will diminish. The conditioning process can last from 1 to 6 weeks and sometimes even more. We move to the bottling section of the brewery, where recycled bottles are brought in and cleaned. This machine cleans 40,000 bottles in an hour. Then, the inspection process begins, where the good bottles pass and the ones with chips and faults are rejected.
This is the rejection.
The bottles are then dried and recycled into new bottles that will now be filled with a fresh batch of beer. Next, the beer is crowned or capped with a bottle top. The beer is then pasteurized. Once the beer has fermented, it must be carbonated. This involves adding carbon dioxide to a container under high pressure, forcing it to be absorbed into the beer. This is done to improve shelf life.
And in the process is what we call carbonation. You add more carbon dioxide in it.
At every stage, the manufacturer scoops the beer for quality tests to confirm desired taste and acidity levels. The bottles are then filled with beer and capped and then sent to labeling. After the labels have been put, the bottles are passed in the Kenya Revenue Authority verification machine to be stamped as having passed all quality control tests and found fit for human consumption. The labeling goes hand in hand with counting and with verification. Once the labeling has been done, the beers are then packed into crates that are carried by cranes to the factory store and into
changamoto ya watoto kusoma muhula after katika zile terms zilikuwa zinafuatana. I think ilikuwa kazi ngumu sana, hata sio kwa watoto pekee, hata kwa wazazi. Kulikuwa na malalamishi pale kwamba unalipa fees after 2 weeks, tena unaambiwa lipa nyingine. I think kuna nyingine ilikuwa less than 2 weeks. So hiyo ni changamoto kwanza kwa mwanafunzi, kukawa na ile kukua na kupumbazwa na masomo kuendelea. Hiyo pia I think kwa maoni yangu ilichangia, na kukawa na zile shida za kawaida kwamba COVID pia inaleta pesa finyu. Pia kuna ile fatigue ya masomo. Tuliweza kuona kwa kiasi kidogo kwamba kulikuwa na kuchoma shule, but haikuwa mbaya kulingana na vile ilikuwa mbeleni. So kumaanisha tunafanya zile steps, baby steps towards achieving ile elimu ambayo iko continuous. Sasa hiyo COVID ilikuwa, but sasa we are trying to get away out of it, I think, in my own opinion.
Alright, mtazamaji, basi endapo kwa sasa ndo unafungua runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1, kipindi ni Good Morning Kenya upande wa pili wa runinga. Upande wetu kipindi ni Zinga kwenye KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, ikiwa ni tarehe 29 zimekwisha tumika 25 dakika asubuhi ya leo, na ndani ya studio tunajadili mkesha ama kutokea kwa matokeo ya KCPE mwaka 2021 ambayo ilitangazwa hapo jana na Waziri Profesa George Magoha. Ndani ya studio tuko nao wataalamu masuala ya elimu. Tuko naye ndugu Gibson Gisore ambaye ni mdau mkubwa katika swala hili la elimu kutoka Chuo Kikuu cha Kenyatta, na vile vile tuko naye bwana Kinjabi Kibiko Eric ambaye ni mwalimu wa shule za makundi za Makini ambayo ilitoa mwanafunzi wa pili nchini.
Labda tukiendelea na swali letu, msikilizaji popote pale ulipo, kumbuka kwamba tunatembea na hashtag ya Zinga na hashtag Good Morning Kenya. Serikali imesema kwamba watahiniwa wote milioni 100.2 waliofanya mtihani wa KCPE lazima watajiunga na shule ya upili. Inawezekana?
Naam, kwa Majuma, ukitazama kwa kweli ni wazo zuri wote kujiunga na shule za upili, lakini changamoto ni moja. Je, maandalizi yalikuwa yamefanywa kule katika shule za upili? Hasa ukiangalia idadi ya wanafunzi katika shule za umma, utapata kwa mfano mwalimu mmoja na wanafunzi 80 katika darasa, na utapata kwamba madarasa ni finyu, mabweni hayapo. Utapata sasa changamoto ni kwamba je, serikali itatimiza kwamba katika majuma 4 ambayo yamesalia kabla tuanze muhula wa kwanza mwaka 2022 kwamba watakuwa wamejenga madarasa, watakuwa wamejenga maabara? Changamoto ndio hiyo tu, kwamba ndio ni wazo zuri, hakuna mtu
ni wazo
zuri, lakini kulifanikisha ndio changamoto kuu.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, unaoitazama ni KBC Channel 1, kipindi hewani ni Zinga kwa upande wa Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, ukiwa nasi. Mimi naitwa Rashid Momkondo na mrembo hapa
niite Mwajuma Ali kipenda cheuzi la almasi,
na ndani ya studio tuko nao wataalamu wa masuala ya elimu, na kama tulivyokujuza tuko naye ndugu bwana Gisore ambaye ni Gibson, mhadhiri na mtaalamu wa masuala ya elimu kutoka Chuo Kikuu cha Kenyatta, na vile vile pia yuko bwana Kinjabi hapa Eric ambaye ni mwalimu wa Makini Schools. Labda nikirudi kwako bwana mhadhiri, kwa sasa hii ndio itakuwa mwaka wa mwisho wa mfumo huu wa 844 kukamilika katika taifa letu la Kenya. Je, Kenya iko tayari kwa mfumo mpya wa elimu?
Rashid, kusema kweli kuna ile wanasema ngoja tuone.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
Honourable members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to opinion say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you. Then be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still in a coma. What? He's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail. Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Ona uni mzasi ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani ntipilia huko na barua yangu? Maya, si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda. Mali unazo wewe ama yeye, lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi tunataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape. Utaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi nikusaidie wewe.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
You decided to be Shannon because one day you'll take your revenge?
Pinky? You're really Pinky?
Learn about skincare. You learn everything from makeup removal to facial massage. You'll have no time for lunch.
All right, welcome back. And before we continue that conversation happening on the other side of Radio Taifa concerning matters education, how about we quickly look at how the roads are looking like this morning and just looking at different variety of roads there. Perhaps you can begin from areas around Limuru Road. This is just before you get to the Thika Superhighway, one of those busy roads as you leave areas of Ruaka there, Riru, of course, coming to the city center. Right now, heavy kind of traffic being spotted on this particular stretch, and this is actually being witnessed on both lanes of this road. This is just before you get to the Muthaiga Square or the Muthaiga roundabout. There again, one of those busy roundabout. But obviously, one of those key reasons why you'd really be expecting to be seeing heavy kind of traffic on most of these roads along Thika Superhighway, that is particularly Limuru Road, as well as what you're seeing this morning around the Muthaiga roundabout, is also simply because of that bus rapid transit system, which is clearly taking shape there along the Thika Superhighway. In fact, it is one of those fast roads whereby the state is trying to see how that will come along and how that will obviously shape Thika Superhighway and ultimately reduce traffic flow altogether. So aside from the fact that it also gets to serve different areas, obviously on the outskirts of Nairobi, particularly counties of Embu, Meru, Kirinyaga there, going all the way to various parts. Again, clearly we also know that it is one of those roads that gets to serve quite a number of activities. When you talk about schools, of course, primary schools, secondary schools, universities as well, colleges there, key among them being Utalii College, and oftentimes there's usually heavy kind of traffic around that stretch. The number of companies and industries, all these reasons is one of those that attribute the heavy kind of traffic on this route. And this is particularly why we are seeing what we are seeing this morning. happening, and also around the Muthaiga Square, what you'd really be mostly seeing, especially in this early morning hours, just basically what you're seeing. But just as I mentioned, that is also largely attributed to those reasons that I've just given you. And traffic is again being seen or spotted as you come to the city center. In fact, around this roundabout, just looking at that, the difference in the colors, they are not moving at all, at a standstill there. Just before you get to the Shell petrol station, again, still heavy kind of traffic being seen there, moving at a very, very slow pace. But also, this is one of those key as well as busy areas. So clearly, again, what you're seeing is basically what you'd expect to see. But the contrary is being witnessed as you leave areas of Limuru Road, Muthaiga Road there, City Center, Kipande Road coming all the way from areas around Wayaki Way, as well as Westlands as you head over to sections of Thika Superhighway, and also past there. On that particular stretch, you can just see that green color indicator, or better still a clear indicator of moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all. So it simply means that perhaps for our viewers who their businesses is along this way, or if at all you are on the road and you're coming to this side, it is a good time for you. If you're planning to leave the houses, still a good time for you, because particularly on that stretch, no traffic at all, moving at a very, very swift pace. So where we're really experiencing that gridlock is as you come to the city center. But again, this is really what you'd expect to see on most of these roads as you come to the CBD. And like what you'd really see on particularly areas around Westlands as well as Upper Hill, where you'd really be seeing traffic on both sides. But on this particular one, just what you're seeing is basically what you'd expect to see as you come to the city center. But again, it's also obvious because of the different kind of activities that perhaps people have as you come to the CBD. But that is how it is looking like there along the stretch of Muthaiga Road all through, as well as the Muthaiga Square all together there. Slightly past there as you come through Muranga Road, the same again is witnessed. But again, remember that I have just told you that the bus rapid transit system is taking shape along Thika Superhighway. It is the first road whereby this system is taking shape, and also the state is planning to procure some buses once this project is complete. They're also trying to see how all this is going to reduce traffic altogether. This is after the expansion of Thika Superhighway was completed in 2016, and also after we've seen quite a number of footbridges being installed. In fact, the latest 3 to be installed around areas of Utalii College, there are areas of Green Park as well, and some sections on this particular street, just to try and see how all this is going to reduce traffic flow altogether. And again, given the fact that it is one of those busy roads, this is why they deemed it fit to also begin that BRT there. So again, back the traffic flow very, very quickly before we get to wrap up here, still moving at a swift pace past Muranga Road as you come to the city center, all the way up until the Globe roundabout. This is how that major roundabout is looking like this morning. Not really that bad as you come to the city center. That is how it is looking like this morning on sections of Thika Superhighway, as well as areas around Limuru Road and Muthaiga Square. We take a very quick breather. We come back with more of Good Morning Kenya. Stay with us.
Wenyewe waona huu ni mzazi, ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani antipilia huko na barua yangu? Maya, si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda. Mali unazo wewe ama yeye, lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi twataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape.
Hitaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi nikusaidie wewe.
You decided to be Shannon because one day you'll take your revenge?
Pinky? You're really Pinky?
Learn about skincare. You learn everything from makeup removal to facial massage. You'll have no time for lunch.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
You cool me down. You cool me down. 1, 2, 3. I love you. 4, 5, 6. I miss you. 7, 8, 9. I want you back. Oh baby, I'm telling you, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving you. You never should have made me cry. I'm sorry, but I'm mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Chase vicious murderers and criminals like you.
Then be careful. Remember what happened the last time you tried to mess with me, Hidalgo.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Rafaela, you have to understand.
Don't you dare bail out on me.
I'm going to make sure that Mariela gets back everything that you and your family stole from her.
Father Daniel is still in a coma. What? He's fighting for his life. Nevertheless, his condition is critical.
I have an agent that's starting to tie loose ends together, and sooner or later, it will lead him to something. If that happens, we go to jail.
Well, in that case, make sure he won't find anything.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Wenyewe waona huu ni mzazi, ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani antipilia huko na barua yangu? Maya, si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda. Mali unazo wewe ama yeye, lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi twataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape.
Hitaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi nikusaidie wewe.
You decided to be Shannon because one day you'll take your revenge?
Pinky? You're really Pinky?
Learn about skincare. You learn everything from makeup removal to facial massage. You'll have no time for lunch.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Sleep is a story about Makau, a 20-year-old man who struggles to find a way out of trauma caused by the actions of his late father and would do anything to gain back his sanity.
Inspector Mogaka, my name is Detective Akenye, and I believe this is not my case.
This leads to a change of behavior where he turns to revenge. Due to the trauma, Makau is unable to sleep and he keeps on having flashbacks of his father's burial, making him uneasy and restless. Brian Kabugi plays Makau.
Casting for Sleep, we just did an indoors audition and just to confirm, but we already knew this is the right person to play this. We never had changes. Real Boogie is a household name. Most of the guys have seen him grow. I've seen him grow on TV, and for this role, Boogie was going a different way. He's the lead character, but he just say a single line the entire movie. But all through, he's not talking. He's silent all through, and he was just putting the emotions together, and he was speaking through character.
The film, produced by Vincent Ludeki, seeks to address mental health issues among the youth in the country.
We wanted just to highlight what has been happening, because we've been watching news, and if you watch news lately, especially around the end of 2020 and the beginning, the other half of 2021, the first half of 2021, there has been a lot of killings.
Sleep highlights the burden of depression and how it led to a series of killings at the height of COVID-19 restrictions in the country.
We took 14 days to shoot Sleep, and then after 14 days, it has taken us up to almost 4 to 5 months of post-production. A unique feature or a unique dynamic to Sleep compared to my other films that I've done before, I will say it's cinematography. I haven't done anything to that type of cinematography. Even after that, I've done another short film immediately when we wrapped Sleep. I went to a short film, but still, cinematography for Sleep, it's still in my mind.
Scene 50C, shot 1, take 2.
Kenya Film Commission has changed this, the industry. Kenya Film Commission has placed the industry where we can say, I'm a filmmaker proudly, and you can go home and tell your parent, I'm a filmmaker. The industry, in terms of quality, production, in terms of market, it has grown. And yes, Kenyans are watching Kenyan content. So Kenya Film Commission has created a place, the Kenya, I think is Kalasha Market, where Kenyans filmmakers can go and market their content to potential buyers. But we are thinking of, they should come up with an expo where we just want to showcase Kenyan content and people come and just watch the magic that is being created here.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya, and we continue with our conversations this Tuesday morning. Time for women in leadership, and we want to keenly focus on what exactly has hindered the 2/3 gender rule after that promulgation of the Constitution 2010 that provided for that. A good number of women leaders have cited frustration, particularly those in elective position. But aside from that, or in addition to that, what exactly is one of those inhibiting factors that is hindering women from to ascending to position of power, and particularly elective positions? And also, as a country, are we ready for a Kenyan a female president? As Kenyans, as a people, are we ready for that? That is what we want to have a conversation surrounding on this Tuesday morning, and my guest is already on set. I'm joined by Greta Muthoni. She is actually vying for the position of presidency, the 5th president as a female presidential candidate. Greta, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Doreen. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Easy, relaxed?
Yes.
All right. You are actually vying for this position on the Empowerment Liberation Party.
Yes.
What does this party stand for, given the fact that it's one of those parties that you're just getting to hear of? I know it was formed in 2017, but we're just getting to hear of right in this time. What does it stand for?
This party, the empowerment, as you hear the word, and liberation, is to empower the common man, the common mwananchi. It is so much people-focused. So it will be more of people more than anything else. And I think why I am vying on it after coming, you know where I came from, it is because actually the whole team, they have worked so hard to see that there is equality in people's lives, also to see that all the resources shall be divided among us, the people of Kenya, without any discrimination. So equality is the key, and empowerment to the people also, it is a very important thing in this party.
Greta, when you talk about equality and it being people-centered, don't you think that as Kenyans, and also particularly as young people, we have had that enough times?
I think you've heard it enough, but it is only said and never done. That is why you need me to make it be done. Yeah, as a woman. Yeah.
You actually declared your bid, is it like 7 or 8 days ago?
Yeah.
And you were a party member of Ford Asili.
Yes, I was.
But we know that statement that was released by the SG, that was actually on Monday through his Twitter account, and he said that you cannot and you will not vie for presidency on that party ticket. Is that part of what quickly informed your decision to move from Ford Asili to ELP?
Oh, yes, because the actual fact is I was a member of Ford Asili.
Why then did he come to deny us that? Because I mean, he was so outright that this actually you cannot. And you can
actually, this is my membership for Ford Asili, coming from the ORPP, and I thank the government for having such a system that can be able to keep the records. Anyway, it is good. I was happy to hear that, because that makes Kenyans to realize the type of people we are dealing with today, and also to see where the women are cornered. Because when the question was asked to me, I don't think if it was a man could have been asked that question. It was just to break me. But you know what? It gave me more strength. And I didn't shy away from answering all other questions, because it's not about those small things. It's about Kenya. When you have a vision for a nation, you cannot concentrate on such small things. It is more. Because, of course, being a member, you have the right to aspire. And that's exactly what I did.
So what I'm getting from you is that this was more of malice.
Yeah, it was.
And did it, from your perspective, do you think that this came out just because you are a woman?
Strongly. All right. It's because I'm a woman. Of course, most of the conspiracies are done by men. However, I feel it's the right time for women now to come out without fear. You know, women have not understood the strength they carry. We do have a lot of strength. Remember, we are managers from our home to where we are today. The men that conspires, they're born by men, by women. And actually, they consult their mothers. So a woman is a very important person in the universe. That's why we call Mother Nature, Mother Nation, because of the power of a woman. And it's about time, actually, for us now to not fear, not to shy away, and not even to look at the small things that are being cooked. We're above that. Yeah. And I'm coming up as a president of this country, because those things we must put them to an end. Somehow. Because as women, we are over 51%. And I think if every woman would vote, you are in. So I'm actually talking to women right now to tell them, do not fear. I know out there you're being discriminated, you're being fought by men, but the time has come. There is always a time for everything, and this is the time for a woman.
There's always a time for everything, and this is the time for women to take up this position.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll come to those issues as we continue unpacking this conversation. But you have declared your bid to vie for presidency.
Yes.
Of course, in this coming general election.
Yes.
As the first female aspirant.
Absolutely.
I mean, that in itself takes courage. And whatever will be the outcome of this election, of course it will go in history as the third, to form the list of the third women who've ever vied for presidency. Of course, this is after Martha Karua and Charity Ngilu in 1997 and Martha Karua in 2013. But when you look at that aspect of women coming to such bigger position, it takes courage.
It does.
What are you bringing to the table?
It takes courage, and I think Martha Karua and Ngilu, they were preparing the way. They were not wrong, but it was not the right time. This is the right time. You know, when things are done, there's always, you can do the right thing at the right time, and the right thing at the wrong time. So I feel strongly the time has come for a woman. And as a woman, as you've heard from all over the world, and many research it, where a woman is, the nation become more productive. There is more equality, there is more human right, there's soft foreign policies that make the nations to be in peace. So I think it is about time for women, not only in Kenya, but all over the world, because the world needs harmony, needs peace. And if you look at it, the majority of the men that are in positions, they're the ones that cause all this. So it's about time, because the children dying belongs to women. The husbands dying, they belong to women. You see, when you look at it, it's all about the denial of ourselves, of not knowing exactly where we belong. And now I feel it is about time for women to feel they belong to the power and share it with men. Yeah, we are good carer, and we care, you know. A woman cares.
Women are just motherly.
We just nurture things, and that's natural. You know, you can imagine that a child grows in a womb of a woman. And and when you give birth to this child, you take care of it, despite whatever condition it is. So a woman is actually born to create. So we are actually very, very, very strong. And I think this is the fear where men have always oppressed women because of that fear. But you know what? It's coming to an end. That's my feeling. Yeah.
Greta, let's interrogate the question of timing.
Yeah.
And just going by those examples that we've given, the likes of Martha Karua and Charity Ngilu, of course, let's just look at Martha Karua a bit, because she is the last female aspirant to ever vie for that position. And by the time she was doing this in 2013, we cannot forget what she had done, even in her capacity as a woman. In 2005, she was key when it came to the reforms, the constitutional reforms at that time, when she was really so big on the no side. You can't forget 2007 and 2008 post-election violence. She was one of those leaders who won the talks in what came to form the Grand Coalition government. How can you forget between 2002 and 2005, when she served as the cabinet minister for justice and the kind of role that she played at that time? So when you talk about the question of timing, then what exactly does it entail and what does it take? Because I think that after you have amassed all this in your position, whether as a lady or a man, then where does time lie in as a factor?
You're worried about the time, the 4 months? Remember, in this time, there are rules and regulations for this nation. And I feel the campaigns have started. But according to IEBC, the campaigns were supposed to start on the 26th of May, not now. But again, the lawmakers are still the lawbreakers. That's why we need order in this nation. Because you can be doing many other things as we do, charity work, going out there, and we have many people. But what are we doing? We are talking to people. We are thinking deeply about the people of Kenya. We are also law-abiding, because I think in my government there will be law and order. People cannot just be unruly, like there's no nation. You know, there must be order. You know, and who brings order? The leaders. So what I feel that in Kenya, we've had politicians but not leaders. Because a true leader would care about their country. Remember, at this time around, people are supposed to be working, including them. Where are they on the street? Why destruction to people who are supposed to be at work? Where are we going, being a developing country? We're supposed to kind of project 100 years to come. So there will be no leader should be out there, but they should be in their office. They should be on top of the things, on top of the projects going on, industries and everything, creating the position for the youth that are coming in, training our young people. It should be kind of civic education, so to say. But when you look at it, where is order? Kenya has become so unruly, I'm sorry to say, because who is leading who? And this is my cry as a woman, because I wouldn't want to see the coming generation, and particularly the youth, to have this kind of mentality. I think people are tired and exhausted. That's all I can say. And the people you see on the street, the majority are paid, the majority are used, but what do you see? The very same people going around, they go around themselves. So I know today, the youth, almost 70% of the youth, the majority are educated people. And I'll face them and tell them, please be critical on what you see and watch. Governments and leadership is not done on the street. It's done strategically and creating the future of years to come. As a leader, you sacrifice because you're a servant. They're supposed to be servants, projecting years to come.
Leadership is a question and all about servanthood.
It's servanthood. It should be servanthood. It should be commitment. It is not Kenyans who should not be sleeping because of the worries. It should be them who will not be sleeping. They should have sleepless nights organizing the nation, because there are a lot to be done. We have the health, we have the education, we have agriculture, we have people dying of northern Kenya, we have all the catastrophes that are happening. But when you look at it, you actually become very sad, because you wonder, do we really have leaders? But again, who will bring the change? The Mwananchi themselves. They're the one to bring the change. They're the one to feel it is about time. Why? Because it's them suffering. It is not them. The Mwananchi is the one that will be suffering. Yeah. So when they get exhausted and tired and angry of the situations they are going through, then they will demand change. And the change is now.
The change is now, you see. But you are saying that it is time. Yes, we hear you. You're saying that Mwananchi is the one to bring the change. Of course, this is through voting. We saw the voter apathy experienced in the country that also rendered IBC to put the listing for a second time, but even at that, they still didn't achieve their target. And Kenyans out here saying that we are tired, and one of those targeted demographic was the young people, which still they didn't meet that target. So when you say that the voter should change, and the voter is saying that I'm voting you in, but you forget my interest very quickly even before you get to that position. Yeah,
you know, the voters, particularly the young people, I would urge them, come out and vote for change. Because why are they not taking the votes? I mean, the voting, to enter in the system.
They're not getting registered as voters.
Exactly, as registered as voters, because they're tired. They're tired seeing the same thing over and over again. There's something people have to realize. In time, people do change, generation to generation. They are not the same. You cannot manipulate a young person today. It will always be impossible, because they have the thoughts of their own and they can think independently. So if they do not come out, it will be their loss. They need to come out. They need to know what they want. They need to kind of command, what change do you want? Go for that change. Do not be manipulated. Do you know why? When they come out and they are paid, you're given 1,000 shillings to come out, or 500, divide it in 5 years. How much money have you gotten? That's my argument. How much money? Instead of you going for the policies, how are you gonna cater for me in 5 years to come? And if
who really is building this culture, Girita? Is it the politician or the young person?
The politicians. And why? You know, it will be a win-win. Remain stupid, I will manipulate you. You will keep on voting for me. So enlighten a person. You cannot manipulate them anymore. And this is where we need to get. Because you see, the goodness about being in leadership as a woman will not manipulate you.
Hold that thought there. A woman will not manipulate you.
No.
I want us to take a very quick break. When we come back, we interrogate that issue further. Why would a woman not manipulate you? As well as look at some of those national issues that if elected, she will address. We take that break. Stay with us. We come back with Good Morning Kenya.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
You decided to be Shannon because one day you'll take your revenge?
Pinky? You're really Pinky?
Learn about skincare. You learn everything from makeup removal to facial massage. You'll have no time for lunch.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
When our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Ona ni mzazi ndio uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani ntipilia huko na barua yangu? Maya si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda.
Mali unazo wewe ama yeye? Lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi twataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape. Utaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi. Nikusaidie wewe.
Do you have a new story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Women in Leadership is what we are focusing on this Tuesday morning. And I'm still joined by Greta Muthoni. She is a presidential aspirant. And Rose Mulwa has just joined us, the National Party Leader for Empowerment Liberation Party. Rose, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Traffic caught up with you, but you are here.
Me, at last, thank you.
At last you're here.
Yes, I'm grateful.
All right.
I'm very sorry.
All right, that's good. I'll come to you later, but let's just pick up on what you left on before we went to break. And you were saying that women cannot lie to people. Women cannot lie to us.
I say
this is why it's our time.
Yeah.
You say that it's women's time to lead.
Yeah. Women cannot manipulate as men can.
Actually, that's the word you used.
Yeah, that's the word I used.
Yes.
The reason being, remember, there is attachment of a woman and the child. The child becomes the man, and the woman are the head. So you see, there is that attachment for a woman. Despite whatever they want to do, they think again. And I think the power of a woman lies in the mind. So, because you see, the balancing that is done by women, it is incredible, because a woman multitasks. A woman can lay back and watch. Why? Because the ego of a woman is not as much as of a man. So that gives us the space to make the right decisions, and also to have very, very deep discussions. Let's say if it's a government, you can agree on each other. Okay. Why? Because there's no ego. It's not ego-based. And I think the goals of a women, they're different from men. Because a woman thinks about humanity. A woman thinks about the future. A woman thinks about the production of what is happening. That's why they say that, when you educate a woman, you educate the nation. When you educate a man, you educate a person. Because a woman has so many compartments that always she can pick from and be able to jungle all those things, going to the right thing. Sometimes people think that emotions of a woman is a crime. It is not. It's because they're real. They're real. Just as you can say you have tears to cry. Is it not real? You have mouth to laugh. Is it not real? So the natural way of the creation itself, it is exercised by a woman. And that's why I feel, even at the starting things, a woman is in another level. She's an intellectual. It's only they do not understand. And I cannot fail to quote this one when they say, biblically even, a woman is a helper. And I keep on asking, if a woman is a helper, when you're helping someone, who is weaker? The one being helped or the one that's helping you?
Looks like a concerted effort for me, but I want us to take a look at you launching your presidential bid, which happened about 78 days ago. And let's try and look at some of those issues that you were addressing even as you launched that bid. Take a look.
Good afternoon. I come to you this day, the 20th of March, 2022, humbly representing and tendering my aspiration to be the 5th President of the Great Republic of Kenya. I am Greta Muthoni, a Kenyan by birth. I am a patriotic Kenyan and a mother. Mothers nurture, love all children equally, and this is what Kenyans need now. I have accepted the call to be a leader who is ready to transform our country in a way that will benefit the lives of every man, woman, youth, and a child. My call into the leadership position is people-driven, from millions of Kenyans who are seeking an alternative and authentic leadership. Kenyans are exhausted, tired, and suffering, and depressed. With the current option of leadership available,
You launched that bid on the 20th of March, which is actually about just a week ago, as the first female aspirant, as you're talking about earlier. And there's still quite a lot that you are addressing. Again, just gearing towards it is the time for women to lead.
Yes. Yeah, you know, authentic leadership.
And that's what you really talked about mostly.
You know, when you look at a country, if you do not have the foundation of reality of things and genuinity and being authentic, the foundation becomes very loose. If every person that we see are patriotic about the nation that you're in, they will not be as disturbed as they are today. Because it is your country. You do anything to make sure it is not about you. That's why I talk about authentic. Because are many people authentic? Is it about them or is it about the country? It's about the people of Kenya.
All right.
In many times, it's about them. I need that seat so that I can do 1, 2, 3. I need that seat for reasons. In leadership, you don't have reason for yourself, but reason for other people. And the people you're leading.
All right, I hear you. Let me bring in the party leader, ALP, and you are largely agreeing with what Honorable Girita is saying here, particularly when it comes to that it is the time of women. You are vying for the position of governor in Machakos County. And I just want us to look at the women who've already gone before, since that's what you try to talk about, women in leadership. If at all you get this seat, you obviously be in addition to the women that have bagged this gubernatorial seat through elective position, the likes of Joyce Laboso, may God rest her soul, the likes of Anne Waiguru Kirinyaga, as well as Kitui's Charity Ngilu. Do you look at some of these women that have gone ahead in terms of them setting pace and setting stage, and in what way have they done this?
Thank you so much. First, I want to acknowledge the students who have just got their results, KCPE. And I want to congratulate them, those who did well. And I just want to tell the others who did not perform so well, it's not the end of everything. But coming to think about it and commenting, and when we look at the diaries, the newspapers this morning, we are seeing the equality of women and men. We are seeing the top students
being shown in the results.
In the results, they are 50-50. And I know they did the same exam. And that's why we are not saying it's a breaking news that girls are also among the top ones. So as a party leader of Empowerment Liberation Party, I don't understand why when a woman comes out like Madam President, it's a breaking news. I don't see it being a breaking news when we come to academics. And the reason is, when these children went to school, they did the same exam, took the same time, paid the same school fees. So as a party leader of Empowerment Liberation Party, I did not have a woman in mind when this party was being formed. What I had in mind was to give a platform for anybody who wants to vie and enter elective politics, to have a platform where they will not be messed at one stage or other, the way our Madam President was messed. I did not have her in mind. I did not have a woman in mind. I just wanted to say, in Kenya, times have changed, and being a multi-party state, we have to be different. And that's why Empowerment Liberation Party is a place. It's not about money. And as you asked, I respect the women who went ahead of us. And I still feel they did their best, because the environment is not very conducive for a woman. And as I said, when a woman enters the political field, it becomes a breaking news. I think I call it this nonsense must stop, because we are equal Kenyans. We have got the knowledge, we have the ability, and we can lead. Women, as Madam President has said, we can multitask. You find a woman, she's employed, she's working, she's a mother, she's cooking, she's organizing school fees, she's organizing homework for the children, and she's doing so much things. So I'm telling the people of Kenya not now to see women as just a woman, another figure which is coming, a weak figure. They should see women as part of this nation. And I'm asking our lady, women, we stand together because we are more than 50% when the census are done. And that way, I don't see why women will have to go for nominations. And when we get a nominated seat, we feel that we have been done as such a big favor. We should not go for that. We should come out and stop being even enemies of one another. Because there is also an element, women, we don't support each other. They say, I'll pull her down, and you don't want to end there. You pull me down, then pull me down and take it. Don't pull me down and give a man. One thing, we are not against men because we are all Kenyans. The only difference is sex, is a male and female. And we cannot blame God because he created us that way. But when it comes to the thinking, the mindset, there's no difference.
Okay.
There's no difference.
I hear you. And you're saying that women should not go for nominations. So obviously what you're meaning is that they should also go for elective positions.
Yes.
But we cannot downplay the politics of affirmative actions that have really put at least women on some pedestal or on some positions when it comes to matters politics.
You know what I believe is that, I'm giving example of the students who have just done exam.
Okay.
There's nobody who was stopped from being top. If any woman comes out, I'm asking just our counterpart, that the men, not to be so much threatened and intimidating when it comes to the women in the field. That is insulting them, using that language. And I just also want to tell women, when they hear the dirty language, not to be afraid of those languages. When somebody is talking for that language, it also diminishes the character of that person, because anybody who has sound mind will not talk rubbish, will not insult another one, will not abuse another one. And that's why I've told every person who has come as an aspirant of Empowerment and Liberation Party, one thing, we don't antagonize the government of today and the government we form, because if we antagonize the government which is in office now, and we are going to form the next government, we are also going to be antagonized. So we live like human beings, not like animals. We don't even abuse other politicians and our competitors. The field is free for us and we don't need to fight. What we do is to sell our ideologies. And I'm telling women and even men and the youth, I'm also for the youth, because our youth and our professionals, they are sitting silent, watching from the peripheries, and they don't want to come and become partakers of this game. I'm asking them to come in numbers, because in my party, this party, Empowerment and Liberation Party, there's a group, we call them silent majority. And these are the silent sufferers. They are capable Kenyans, educated Kenyans, good character, but they are not talking. They are just watching and saying, I'm so annoyed what I've seen in the TV, what I've seen in the newspaper. But come out and join us now, because now we are offering them opportunity. Delay is not denial. She might have come out about 2 weeks ago, but I'm telling you, things can change. Within this time, between now and then, August 9th, things can change if Kenyans, they will listen to what we are telling them, and they will become the next government of Kenya. And I'm sure she's going to take it. Because there are people who have been waiting for alternative. She is the best alternative. And being a woman, she'll have a heart for everybody. She'll accommodate everybody. A mother always loves everybody, whether they are weak or strong, whether they are educated or not. A mother will always nurture every child. Yes.
All right, Honorable Greta, Madam Rose is saying that delay is not denial.
No, it is not.
It is the time. Come out to be heard, not just to be seen. But some might argue that we're just hearing of you now. We've not seen you. We've not heard you. Who is Greta Muthoni? What does your background look like?
My background is a humble background. Born in Nyandarua, grew up as a normal child, but always so much attracted to how I can change people's life. And I'm a psychologist by profession. And I really concentrate on what is happening. I've been out there. Actually, I am the first person to give soap and water to the elderly during COVID-19. No one had started, I did. But you know what? I've been out there with also some other politicians. But you're never covered. You're not known. They cover the people they know. And you know, it's such a pity, because the most effective people are silent, just as they have said. Silent. The well-learned and sober-minded, they're out there. But you see, it's a pity that we cover the most unnecessary things in our country. It is also painful because what are our children learning out of it? You know?
And I just want us to tackle a bit about the debt crisis in this country. As of last year, it was captured at 8.2 trillion. Of course, that debt ceiling, was risen from 6 trillion to 9.1 in 2019, and there's still conversation to rise it further to 13 trillion. And right now, we are expecting the budget to be read on April 7th. We obviously know, just like previous budgets, we'll have a deficit. What does that mean? Kenyans have to dig into their pocket to see how they can finance that a bit, and consequently to also see how they can dig into their pockets to repay that which we have borrowed. It's a pertinent issue.
Where does that come from? The leadership. You see, when you talk about the debts, the debts, you cannot be without a debt as a government. Oh yes, but then management of the debts, because if there are projects and they were not done, it still become a debt that is paid and it didn't do nothing, you know. Also, there is something, actually that is one of my important point, mindset. If you do not change the mindset of people, nothing will ever work in this country. Talk about the debts, talk about health, talk about mindset. Our mindset is wrong, because when you are in power, it's about the money. How would you entrust anyone when the mindset is wrong? If we had the good mindset, we will not be losing all that we are losing. Because if you're given responsibility to loan money and you give it to someone to manage it, if they had the right mindset, they would manage that money. But because the mindset is wrong, this is where the country is going down. You see, the debts, if you ask me, if I would look at it projectively, in years to come, I would discuss about it, go back and see how was it acquired, what can be redone, how can we get maybe more grace period so that we are able to pay longer time in a small portion. And also create jobs for the youth. We need to create jobs. But again, even though we create jobs, what about the mindset of the people you are creating jobs to? Will they manage the resources that you give them? I think Kenya as a country, we lost the foundation. And the foundation is our mind. And I have tried to look at everything in every perspective. And everything adds up to our thinking. So if we can change the way we think and the way we perceive things, we can be able to handle this nation. Because think, are we talking about the human resources? We have more than enough youth to work if we create jobs for them. You see what I mean? We are taking our children out there. Why? Our brain is out there instead of it being here to work and create jobs. But again, as you say, they're nowhere to be seen because who will see them? That is a problem we have in Kenya and Africa at large. So it is about time to go to the drawing table and ask ourselves, what is wrong with our country and us? Because anything else can be done if we have the right mindset. Jobs can be created, yes, but who will run them? We can even have more hospitals, but who will be genuine enough not to steal the medicine from the hospital? We can have the factories. Who will be good enough to manage the factories? Mindset. So for me, if you ask me, the mindset is important. And I think in my government, I will concentrate with the youth because we must have the change of the mindset. And that way, whatever we do, we run. Because if you think about it today, what is happening? You don't need to be told. Watch the TV. You will create a story out of what you see. Yeah? You think, people think that things are going wrong because maybe we don't have the people to do those things. They're there. The minds are there. But where is our brain? In America, in Europe, in England, in Britain. That is where our brain is. And if we bring the brain back, if we take the brain that is here and put it together, we will come with something. And I'm going to say one more thing. Remember, during the colonial, it came a time when our forefathers had enough and made a decision to go to the forest to fight for this nation. The time must come for people to be that tired and want change.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Honorable Rose, Greta is talking about management when it comes to debt crisis. It's a very pertinent issue. Looks like we'll continue having this conversation year on end. And the challenge is not in the borrowing, because I mean even developed countries do that for development anyway. The question is about management. So where is the missing link?
I think just to add on what Madam President has said, is that the high debt is costing, the effect is high cost of living.
Yes.
Every Kenyan, even the lowest in the village, they are feeling it. It has cost even the essential commodities to be unaffordable for the Kenyans at large. I think I recommend and I acknowledge and appreciate the former President Mwai Kibaki. He left us at a very high and comfortable level economically. One thing I want to commend is that Kenya, we don't lack resources, we don't lack money. It's social, we have socially, social structures are there. Economically, we are okay. The only thing we need is management. And I'm saying this with all due respect. There is no way we can have people loaning us money if we don't have ability to pay. And that's why you see the foreign countries, they will come, they will do work for us. We have not paid them, we have not cleared them. It's big amount of money, but they still give us more because they know we have ability to pay. I can assure you, nobody will lend you money when you are owing the money if you have no ability to pay. When does that take us? Kenya, we have all it takes. All we are lacking are leaders and administrators. And I believe with Madam President in office, we are going to have structures. She will have structures where we will have, and I said they are learned people, capable people, and they are not politicians. The resources of Kenya are not supposed to be managed by politicians. You know, politicians, their work is to keep promises. Because they have spent so much money to campaign, to buy the electorates, they want to end our office and recover.
Isn't that what Madam Greta is telling us? As she's saying that she's largely going to focus on the youth, isn't that what we've had over time?
The youth.
When you talk about promises, isn't that what she's saying?
No. I think I don't know what she's referring to that. It is when you keep on telling people, I'll do this for you, but I heard her say, she will not give money. She's not buying them. You know, if I buy you when you are given 1,000, I heard her say, if you are given 1,000, will it carry you through for the 5 years? So I understand she's not giving money. If the politician will give money, but when he enters office, he has to recover that money with interest and even accumulate more with that experience for the next elections to safeguard his interest. But I'm talking of leaders entering politics. When a leader enters politics, these are managers, these are administrators. And the beauty of leaders entering politics, not with the mind of a politician, is a person who is going to safeguard these resources. They will put structures so that we get now those silent Kenyans, those educated Kenyans, capable Kenyans, who we are asking them to join us to run offices like Central Bank. We know we have got people in Central Bank who are working very well, other parastatals, other institutions which are not run by politicians, and that is the area where we have got wrong. If you put a politician because he lacked a position or he did not succeed when they went for elective position, you tell them, I will reward you, you go and work in central government. That person will not perform. So what I'm trying to say is that Kenya, we can reduce the cost of living because Kenyans are crying, they are suffering. Kenya is bleeding because everybody is crying about the economy, and I understand even the unborn children, they have got a debt to pay. They are not born children. But let me tell you, when we end up under the government, the administration of Madam President, we are not, I said we are not vindictive. I'm telling you, we will not go back to West Energy to find out where did this money go, who took what, who did not take what. What we need to do is to put a full stop, knowing that the resources are there, money is there, and what we need is to have mechanism to safeguard what now we are going to manage. And within 2 years, 3 years, this debt will go down almost to the zero, and they will redeem the unborn children, including the ones who are alive and they don't know what to do. So I want to say there is a generation below 50 which has been forgotten in Kenya. They are suffering, and these are the people who want to tell them, join us so that we can work together and redeem. Kenya needs redemption.
So you're saying that it's not a time for promises. We need to act.
No.
All right, you're so big on employment, even part of what ELP's mandate is. And looking on the the recently concluded census, it shows that 5.7 million million Kenyan youths are jobless out of the 13.7 in existence. And that is part of what creates that gap between the rich and the poor. And going by that aspect of time to reduce on promises, to act on it, I think I'd want you to be more practical on that issue. Why I ask that is because in every electioneering period, the question of unemployment on every politician's mind vying for any position, it never misses. I mean, we've just had the Kenya Kwanza team saying that 100 billion will go to SMEs. We've had the other team saying that 6,000 will go to the vulnerable persons, and of course youth form that bit of vulnerable persons. So let's be a bit more practical on this unemployment issue in this country.
Thank you so much. I think what I want to commend is this, and being a person in the business sector.
Yes.
Kenya, we have got enough for all those who want to be given resources, to be avowed resources to start businesses like these SMEs. Because after going around, particularly in Machakos, I went around and I went meet the people tour, and it was so bad to see that irrespective of Machakos County receiving over 100 billion within the last 10 years, there is no development. I go for meetings to meet the people at 10, at 2 p.m. The youth are there in my meetings, and then it hit me, what you are saying is right. There are no jobs, they are not employed. Now, one thing I want to say, if you take 1 billion, even if the person who was in charge took just 1 billion per year out of the 10 he got, and said, this money I'm going to assist those who want to start small businesses, and then you have a structure to monitor them, to see that they are not taking the money to drinking and other things. I'm telling you, 1 billion can do a lot per year for a county. Another year, another billion. Just take 1 billion. And those who want employment, you just start, instead of giving contracts to the people who are up there, because it is being given to those who are already having. The one in I think the Bible says the poor remain poor and the rich richer. If we just take instead of giving the contract to the people up there, and we take that contract to the ward level, and I tell the MCA, I want you to employ the youth to work on this contract. The only thing you can do, get a qualified person, engineer, to teach them how to work. Within a year, there will be employment in that same ward. So I want to, as a governor of Machakos, if people elect me there, and they are going to elect me because they have no choice, they need a woman, I'm going to do projects in the sub-counties, in the wards, not just at the level of the sub-county, but at the ward level. And I'll make sure that those MCAs, they don't spend time sitting in the boardrooms in the county offices. We have meetings, and they all go to supervise the projects at the ward level. There is enough money. God is not a man that he lies, and is not a fool that he has put all these Kenyans, the millions of Kenyans in this country, and he has not given us the resources we need for each one of us. There is enough. It's only that money is in the hands of very few people up there. If it can be released and be distributed equally, everybody will have some money. There's a lot of it.
All right, I hear you. So it's more also of a question of empowerment. Empowering.
That's why empowerment, and we have to liberate people.
Okay, okay.
I want to tell Kenyans, the jobs they need, our youth, the jobs are not in Dubai. They are not in America. Their job is here. And that's why you see people in the Western world, developed countries, they are coming here to do business here. From West Africa, Nigeria, they are here because there is something here which our people are being denied. And I want to tell Kenyans, wake up, because sometimes we tend to respect now foreigners. We don't hate them. We live with them. But there are some jobs which can be done by our people here. If any job can be done by our Kenyans, we don't need to employ foreign to come and do it. And other countries have got also those rules and regulations. Anything, I went to South Africa, and at the airport, even Kenya Airways stand, it is a South African who is standing there attending. You know, that kind of thing. I think Kenyans, let us love one another. Let us think of these youth who are suffering. We don't blame them. They are killing each other. They are going to drugs. It's because we are sending them to that.
I hear you.
It is painful and it's hurting.
I hear you. I hear you.
It is hurting.
Now, we just have a minute to go, and I want to finish with you, Honorable Giwita. And this is on that aspect of readiness, since also that was really what was forming our conversation this Tuesday morning. And in just under 1 minute, I want you to just tell us your perspective in terms of, is this country ready for a female president?
Absolutely, this country is ready for a woman president. And now, as you are asking that question,
very quickly, yes.
Yeah. If you see, when you see the mess that is there, in my government, I will put tight systems. I will map the country. You see, when you talk about the youth, you talk like generally. But if I know this county have how many youths, how many are jobless, how do I get jobs for them? It can be done. As we said, lack of management and organization. Right now, because we cannot even trust ourselves because of the way of thinking, but with the technology that we have today, we can be able to man this country even when you're in our rooms, through the systems, because no one citizen should not be known. When you talk about people are dying, which people? The government should know who have died and why have they died. Who is hungry? Where are they? If you look at the January, when you talk about the corruption, you talk about the poverty, you talk about, but where are the people? Already, as a nation, we have not managed to kind of map the country very well. And I think in my government, I will be able to map the country so well that in every county, in every ward, I will need to know who is in that ward. And that means I will start now communicating with people, and particularly the chiefs, who are now the chief areas. I need to get the report. What is happening? I cannot manage to talk about the youth 75%, who I do not know, where they are, who learned what, where is the engineer. If I were the one, my engineers would do that road. Would do the rail.
All right.
Until it is perfect.
I would have wanted to know the practicality of you knowing every person in a particular ward, but due to the constraint of time, we have to bring this conversation to an end. I have been speaking to Greta Muthoni. She is the female presidential candidate. In fact, the one who has declared her bid in this 2022 general elections. I have also been speaking to Rose Mulwa. She's the national party leader of Empowerment Liberation Party, as well as the gubernatorial aspirant in Machakos County. That's how we bring the conversation to a close. And good morning, Kenya. Till tomorrow, have a beautiful morning.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
When our members of parliament
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
We last minute as well to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Unaona ni mzazi ndio? Uingie utoke utakavyo.
Kwani ntipilia huko na barua yangu? Maya si ulipata yako?
Na sikuipenda.
Mali unazo wewe ama yeye? Lakini yeye ndio baba yetu. Sisi twataka mali zote. Naweza kuamua nisiwape.
Utaji msaada wako.
Mimi badi. Nikusaidie wewe.
Hii ni mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC yaliyomo. Mefsin Tesiu ateuliwa kama afisa mkuu mtendaji wa shirika la ndege la Ethiopia kufuatia kujiuzulu kwa Tewolde Gabriel. Baadaye Umoja wa Ulaya na Marekani watia saini mkataba mkubwa wa gesi ili kuepuka kutegemea taifa la Urusi. Kisha tunaangazia changamoto za kifedha zinazowakabili wafanyabiashara wadogo Afrika. Mubashara kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, usibanduke. Hujambo na karibu katika habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Jina langu ni Hamida Abubakar. Shirika la ndege la Ethiopia limemteua Mefsin Tesiu Bekele kama afisa mkuu mtendaji mpya wa shirika hilo, akichukua nafasi ya Tewolde Gabriel aliyehudumu kwa muda mrefu ambaye alijiuzulu siku ya Jumatano kwa sababu za kiafya. Chini ya uongozi wake, Gabriel amesifiwa kulifanya shirika hilo kupiga hatua kubwa muhimu za kimaendeleo. Mwaka 2019 sekta ya ndege ilichangia dola bilioni 4.2 katika pato la taifa la Ethiopia. Licha mafanikio hayo, ripoti kutoka chama cha muungano wa ndege Afrika kimesema janga la COVID-19 liliathiri sana sekta ya usafiri wa anga barani Afrika mwaka 2021 na kusababisha hasara ya dola bilioni 8.6, huku muungano wa kimataifa wa usafiri wa anga IATA ukitabiri hasara ya takriban dola bilioni